Himawari's pancakes or whatever. I'm just gonna keep making that. Like, I'm never gonna like explain further until probably when the anime finally gets around to this shit and I get to like just finally release my video on the topic, and I probably will be explaining why the anime did it way better in that case. But unless I just do it before. But either way, I'm just gonna make it a recurring thing.
No, I love it. What's up, Shu Yuka and Power to 99 and Space, of course, and everyone else who may or may not be here. Shout out to the 3 individuals who are just individually here. Like, that's a pretty rare start to stream, I gotta say. I guess we're popping off more than I thought. Shout out that. So stream. To preface, and that boy on top 1600, Himawari is the goat indeed. Especially if you ask Ash / Himawari Solo's fiction. Those 2 characters would definitely agree. Anyways, to preface the beginning of stream, just for context for chat. So the next heated debate. So what it's about. So for context. So last night, me, Kamui, and Cam. Say hello, Kamui. Cam's not with us, but say hello, Kamui.
Hello.
Yeah, so we last night were watching Attack on Titan. And so that's the context for going into it. So, Kamui, I can't believe how evil you were. You call yourself a dear friend?
You talked about when you Sleep told us to keep watching.
Yeah, so this dude over here, Kamui, you wouldn't believe it. I can't believe it, chat. He forced me to fall asleep. I can't believe he would make his dear friend fall asleep like that. Why would you do that, Kamui?
Now I'm just confused on what you're talking about.
Yeah, we were watching Attack. You
How
know
did I
what?
make you fall asleep?
It's a good thing, if anything. I'm glad I fell asleep, considering watching Attack on Titan. It might as well just be torture. Yeah, some friend making me watch Attack on Titan. Ugh. I'm lucky I got out of that one.
That's just not true. I did not make you watch Attack on Titan at all. In fact, you were equally as supportive of the idea as me. Like, you were in on it.
Well, to be fair, I was in on it for my own nefarious purposes. But Cab has yet to know that.
Well, either way, I didn't force you to have those nefarious purposes.
Well, of which those purposes, of which are nefarious, are progressing pretty steadily. Not gonna lie, it's taken a lot of time. More time than I care to admit, especially in reference to what I'm talking about, but you know what I'm talking about. It's not a chicken sandwich, Team Killer. That's not what I'm referencing. But the thing I am referencing, which is the secret surprise, of which you already know about, I'm going like freaking all in, more so than I thought I would. To the point that it would take longer than a freaking normal other thing that I make. So it's
I assume this is not the secret surprise you were referring to in our group chats, right? Because
right, yeah.
One of them, yeah, I was gonna say, like, I know what this one is, so
yeah. This one that I refer, so I'm referencing, okay. So in our group chats today, I referenced a super secret, neat, cool, additional bonus surprise that Cam and Kamui don't know about. Kamui knows about the first surprise, but not the second one. I'm the only one that knows about the second one because I thought about it / made it today. Took me like an hour. But it's not about the time that goes in. Well, first of all, I shouldn't downplay the fact that it took me an hour. I mean, that alone is it's not the worst thing. Oh, right. Also, Kamui, I forgot. We were gonna, like, we probably should have, like, made the card or whatever tonight. But anyways, That's okay.
Well, we can do that whenever.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I think there was also another
We're
thing
in
we were gonna
2D.
do.
Right?
But again, that's fine. Anyways, just be warned, at JJK podcast we go. Yeah, definitely January is when we're. We need to make another like area to where we're just gonna like write down all of our January stream plans. I want to talk about JJK a lot in January. I'm talking about like a lot of other things, and probably that Christmas stream in January. Probably Attack on
Bro,
Titan
we're not
stream.
gonna finish all those January things in
I
January.
know you're right. I know we're not, but still. Anyways,
Because considering that we spent probably the last half an hour not getting into the actual stream thing.
I'm just saying I wanted to start stream by letting stream know the evil actions, even worse than Marley, that Cam and Kamui would hold me down and hold my eyelids shut until I fell asleep so they could betray their fellow friend in me and go behind my back to watch the episodes without me.
You just got done saying that you were happy, like that it was tortured. Your story is conflicting.
Both can be true at the same time. Hold you down.
I still can't believe you fell asleep during the Jean episode. That was awesome. That was so funny. I loved it.
No, Space. Not in my dream. They held me down in my nightmare, which was my waking reality watching the Attack on Titan episode, so thank goodness. Mind you, the episodes that I told you to watch in the first place. The ones that I never got to see a reaction to, but whatever. Those make no sense reaction titles are hilarious. Thank you, Luffy, my Nika. I know I added random words into the thing you were saying, but still. What's up, Martin Silva? We got a ton of people in here tonight, Cowboy. That's pretty exciting. It's Christmas and stuff. I'll even pin to the comments there. But technically, it's a message, as YouTube says, but still. But also, as Power 99 says, even though I don't like a tech on Titan, it's certainly better than a certain person's rewrite of an anime. We all know I'm not letting that go as a rewrite garbage. Interesting. Wow. So, half of the stream will not even be about Chapter 7. Okay, so Chapter 17, just to prove Space wrong. So, Kamui, there's a lot that we need to go over. Before we begin, I just want to apologize to chat because we've made a continuous and more continuous, egregious what lapse in our judgment. What is it? Continuous.
I don't know what you're trying to say in the first place.
Shout out Logan Paul. He made the continuous lapse of judgment, but there's another adjective he used.
Okay, then I definitely don't know what you're talking about.
Here, let me pull up chapter 17. But okay, anyways, yeah, the continuous lapse of judgment. So, okay, I'm just gonna have to pull chapter 17 up through. If you can link me like the chapter 17 version that I read, I don't know. Anyways, yeah, continuous lapse of judgment.
What do you mean? I didn't. What do you mean link you the version you read? I don't know what version you read. I never sent you one.
Okay, well, you know I read the good version and not stupid dumb idiot Viz. So whatever. So anyways, continuous lapse of our judgment. So what happened? We just didn't react to chapter 17. We just both read it on our own. And to this day, this has been the monumental biggest mistake not only of our channel, but also of our lives. This is like the 100 Years War all over again. It's like the 100-year mistake. It's the biggest, most egregious, continuous lapse of judgment error mistake that we could have ever made ever.
Why?
Because there was a lot in this chapter that deserved to be reacted to. I'll be honest. I mean, obviously, like, we tune up our reaction for the sake of it being a live reaction or whatever. But, like, not, like, too much, like, we are just being ourselves. There are other versions. No, it's just the format we're talking about. Shuyukuka. So, this chapter, reading it solo alone, I was still bouncing off the walls, screaming, knowing that I was doing it alone and late at night and etc., because of how ridiculous this chapter was. In the best way possible, mind you. But like if you were just a fly on the wall, you would have thought that I was live reacting on stream. I was that ecstatic, energetic, excited, etc., etc. So even with no one around, Oodie can still overreact. See, that's the thing though, Space. I don't do that, which is why I'm really, really can't overstate enough how crazy this chapter was when I say the fact that I did.
I mean, whereas I agree with what you're saying, at least in my case, it worked out to my benefit because it got me to, like I said, this relative to my latest standards, this is the fastest I have written a well thought out review. Did in like 5 hours, which lately, you know how long it's taken me. So like it worked out great, and then I just went right into it. And I like I said this before. I think when I do the reactions, I just kind of burn out my review script, and it's just like I don't want to do it. So it worked out in my favor.
And of course, whether you consider this a good thing or not, it could be both depending on which way you look at it. I have seen your chapter review. Shout out Kamui's YouTube channel. Definitely go subscribe if you haven't. Be weird if you were here but not over there. But so I know your thoughts, or some of your thoughts anyways, going into the chapter, as well as like of the community's thoughts on certain things, and for the most part the community's questioning the same things that I was questioning and coming to similar conclusions as I was coming to, but we'll get to it when we get to it. I'm really gonna use an overused meme right now. Get on with it. Okay, well, Power to 99 is quite a chill guy. There's an overused meme. So I guess this podcast will be more chill since you guys aren't doing a blind reading. Yeah, again, I apologize for the greatest mistake I will and could have ever made. This will go down in the channel history as the worst thing to have ever happened. Not just only up to this point, but going forwards. Nothing could reach the potential levels of the mistake of this grand magnitude. Community, no fight equals 0 out of 10 chapter. Well, yeah, some people are saying that, but to be fair, can we consider those people people?
Well, actually, at least when it comes to the 675 people or 674 people that voted on the poll that I'm about to put in chat, actually, most people, overwhelming majority, felt the same way, just for my viewers. Most of them, they gave it a 6 to 8, kind of liked it, was their rating of it. Most people, I mean, the next, in my surprise, that the second place was 9 to 10, absolute P. No. But most people didn't absolutely hate it. They enjoyed it for what it was.
Fair enough. So I think I found a good version at readnaruto.com, better known as Japan.com, just in case anyone was wondering. But
yeah.
Yeah, the official website.
Japan.com.
That's my favorite freaking meme.
Not this, Japan.com.
It's not just Viz or Crunchyroll, it's just Japan.com. Anyways, yes, it's a very interesting poll here.
Do I share your screen, by the way? Why you do that?
That's fine. Okay. while we're going over this poll, we might as well go over a couple of the recent Walky Talky polls that are relevant to Chapter 17 as well. But yeah, no, I'm not really unsurprised at the results of this poll. Again, 674 votes. And from what I've seen from like other people, other YouTubers that made a similar poll, it's like a very similar result to this as well. Yeah.
No,
I mean, I
I
think
haven't seen
yeah.
many people complain.
I think I would give this chapter an 8.5 out of 10. Also known as a 17 out of 20 if you want to be technical about it. Do you know the rating that you give this chapter?
Well, as usual, we have to ask: is this relative to Two Blue Vortex only, or all Boruto chapters?
However you want to do it. I mean, you can clarify which way you're doing it, but yeah.
Okay. If it was Two Blue Vortex only, like I said, in terms of what the chapter's role's supposed to be, which is clearly like a setup, it's not a payoff chapter by any means. It's only setting up things.
Yeah.
Like I said, it has arguably the fewest flaws in all Two Blue Vortex chapters, except for maybe chapter 4. I actually say it's less flaws in chapter 5, even though I generally like chapter 5 more. But so it is arguably the best or second best executed chapter, which would mean from that standpoint, it's like a 9 or 10 out of 10. But in terms of just like general enjoyment, I mean, it's still one of the, I thought it was funny. Like, you know, I liked it, even though it's not, it isn't actually anything crazy. It's just like, I still liked it anyway. So I probably would put it pretty high, even though it doesn't actually deserve it.
Last chapter will go down in the channel's history as probably the most unintentionally goofy chapter of Two Blue Vortex. This chapter blew that out of the water with the most intentionally goofy chapter of Two Blue Vortex. Very clearly.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's clear. It's just like chapter 74, where it's like, for Ikimoto's work at least, is clearly is like funniest 2 chapters of those 2 chapters. It's clearly where he's trying to be funny with it.
Yeah.
Like from every angle. Like it's not just the Matsuri blushing. Like you have Jura going right back to the bookstore, to whipping out a wad of cash and be like, "Oh, this will pay for my future advances" or whatever. Right after they're hyping up how he's the strongest guy in the world. Like we're going out of their way to do as many goofy things as possible.
Which, by the way, I don't understand why they chose that as the spoiler. They basically just showed the whole scene, and that entire part didn't even need to be in this chapter at all. It's like, well, it's weird.
Yeah,
They
it
hyped
literally
that
doesn't
up.
matter.
Spoilers. This is weird. Like, I probably, if I was doing the spoiler page and I had to choose which page, I probably would have chose the Matsuri tree page, or at least the panel around there. Maybe even Yodo saying that she's the sensory type or whatever.
Yeah. That probably would have been good. Because, like, it's kind of weird, though. It's like the sneak peek to the chapter, and it sends the most irrelevant part of the chapter that you could throw in literally any chapter, and it's equally as. It's just the equal amount of import. It doesn't matter when you do it. Like,
Yeah. Now I will
nothing to do
say
with the rest of it.
it
It's
still
nothing to do
has
with the current arc.
it still has a purpose of being here, and we'll get to that. And you already directly said
Yeah.
what the purpose is. Not that that's the only thing, but still. So obviously, entertainment-wise, it's a 10 out of 10 chapter. Writing-wise, I mean, it's arguable. You go any way with it. One thing that I'll say is that regardless if something has flaws or not, because I agree this is the least flawed chapter, even if something has no flaws, oh, well, it has no flaws, why aren't you giving it a 10 out of 10? That doesn't inherently automatically make something a 10 out of 10, because it could also just be not perfectly good. Like, just because it doesn't have bad things doesn't mean it's the best chapter.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I don't. The main thing with this is it's just like it works for what it is, but it doesn't have this like major oomph of impact either. That's the problem. it's not going above and beyond in terms of its effects on you. It's just I see what they're doing and that works. That's really the end of it.
Yeah, I mostly wanted to overemphasize that point, just mostly as a direct response to Mello, who on the Cloud Ninja podcast, shout out Cloud Ninja podcast, he, Vara, and Free Game were giving their ratings. Mello gave it like the most solid, obvious, clearly 10 out of 10, because there was no flaws from his perspective. And obviously, Mello, as you can imagine, would think that about the chapter. We'll get into that as well.
I feel like he always goes back and forth between it's peak 10 out of 10 to it's just like I'm not even interested in the series. It's like, how do you vary it that much?
But then of course he was berating his enemies, Bara and Free Game, who gave it like a 9 out of 10 or whatever they gave it. Because, what problems and issues did you guys have with it to not give it a 10 out of 10? Well, this doesn't necessarily mean that, but okay. Anyways.
It just means it didn't go as above and beyond as a 10 out of 10 was.
Exactly. It's definitely...
And I do also want to emphasize, at least in my case, stuff like during the bookstore or Matsuri's whole shtick in this chapter, it very well could be overinflated in terms of its goodness by my assumption and comparisons with Hunter x Hunter's Chimera Ants. Because if they just don't do that, and a lot of this stuff is just pure coincidence,
we'll get into it.
It's not actually that good.
We'll get into it.
It's assuming
because I already have a lot of thoughts on that.
Because it feels like it is. Like there's too much. Like to the point that I'm surprised that Ikimoto didn't say Hunter x Hunter is one of his inspirations in that interview, because it feels like it is. But if it just isn't, and he's not doing any of that stuff, and it's just going to go a completely different direction, then it's like, well, okay, maybe it's not that good.
Yeah. Shout out Christian Mihail Lovic donated $9.99. Oh, I thought that was one. No, that's $9.99. Bro donated $10. Bro, we are eating good for Christmas tonight. So shout out Christian Mihail.
That's the most we've ever made on a stream.
For sure. That's
the most we've ever made on a stream is from just one guy. All right, this is our favorite fan.
Think about it, Christian. In a singular moment, you made this technically more worthwhile within our 2-year span period than that entire 2-year span period all together. I just want to let that sink in.
Yeah. All from you alone.
Well, technically that's not true. I think in total the donations have been like $35, of which case this would have been the largest donation, but either way.
Well, it's more than any one stream in particular, probably.
Yeah. I mean, we can't cash it out until we hit $100 anyways. Either way, now we're $10 closer to that.
The other 10-ish viewers watching, if you want to each donate $10, we'll be there.
And honestly, again, because Kamui, you've already done the calculations. If we hit 1,000 subscribers, we get monetization on, and with our current view count, we're hitting, what was it, like $200 a month or something insane in comparison to this? Again, not like
something around that.
But technically, subscribing would be the most beneficial thing anybody can do right now, considering we're kind of close. But again, not to say not thank you, Christian. Definitely thank you. But I just want to point that out.
He's
anyway.
like, let me undo that. Never mind, I don't want to do it.
Anyway, so getting to the actual donation itself. So Christian says, we need a Walky Talky / Ninja Cloud podcast cast. Mello, Free Game, Bara, Naruto Explained, NC Hammer, Kitamaki, and some other YouTubers, big end to beginning of the year Boruto podcast.
Well, let's start by getting Naruto to explain on our podcast in general. Unfortunately, he hasn't gone back to me with my latest message, so one thing at a time.
Here, you know what, Kamui? I'm going to send you a screenshot of this message so that you can send the screenshot of the message to Naruto Explained.
Wait, what?
Yeah, well, of the super chat to be like, hey, look,
Oh. Oh my god, yeah, I'd be like, even our fans are asking for it.
Exactly.
This is guilt tripping him at that point.
I mean, not saying
gotta do what you gotta do. No, I'm not gonna say that we shouldn't do it.
Yes, and I want to add in, just because I don't like NC Hammer doesn't mean I wouldn't do a podcast with them. So if anyone can get him on, feel free. But anyways, who knows? Maybe it'll be like a Daigo situation to where actually turns out I do like it. But as of right now,
yeah, that is possible.
The official sponsor of the podcast is always.
All right, real quick, I'm gonna try to switch over to my phone mic as I leave for the store here.
Yeah, so Kamui is indeed going to the store. Talk about it. Yeah, okay, good. I mean, hey, if you can, go for it. Trust me, we've been talking about Naruto Explained too, but hey, if you can make it work out, feel free. Not gonna say it wouldn't help as a reminder / any other thing. What is? Oh, cool. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, anyways. 2077 is crazy. We're going into 2025. Of course, I'm going to link between some channels and podcasts. Yes, space, yes, because of the JJK. Shout out Eternal Flame. We're going to have him on probably in January for JJK. So definitely be hyped for that if you have been. I think Kishimoto should donate $1 million to you guys for your deep analysis on his work. I would not be opposed or ejected. It's the Avenger, the lone Avenger, hopefully. No, it's the whole Avengers. Finally, someone paid. Crazy space. I would join if that means I could take down a certain rewrite, piece by piece. Interesting. Well, as we wait for Kamui, who should be good now.
Okay, is this working?
Yes.
Okay.
The mic quality is drastically noticeably different, but that is okay. It's not too drastic. Well, as Kamui figures out his shenanigans, I'm assuming leaving on his main account makes that still okay and work? And everything's good, Kamui? Okay, well, as we wait for Kamui to come back, yeah, guys, definitely check out the daily polls. I have this scheduled through, like, the middle of January, so definitely daily polls coming. A couple Christmas polls the next couple days, couple Christmas polls for the past couple days. There we go, voted these if you haven't. But some Chapter 17 polls as well. And so we'll go for, like, here. So, Boruto TBV Vortex, okay. Chapter 17. Right now. Okay, now I hear you, yeah. And again, very similar
so whenever,
results.
Oh, what just happened?
I give it an 8.5 personally. But yeah, not what I expected.
Whenever I need to talk to my brother real quick, I'll just mute myself.
Yeah, that's fine.
So that ever happens, you know why.
Yeah.
A little bit goofy, but we're making this work.
So a lot of people seem like they're mid on the chapter, and then like a third of the people either say it's 10 out of 10 or like ruin the series. Definitely interesting. A little bit controversial, but that's understandable for the chapter. For the most part, most people seem to think it's fine. But then the best part of 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 17. A lot of people think it's the Shinju at 60%, and then the Singularitos of Fate at 16%, and then Amato and Kwaki at 13%. I'm shocked this got as many votes as it did. This must have been Mello and his all too demanded this be in this chapter. And then the Shinobi at 12%, which I expect to be way higher.
Wait, what was the vote?
Amato and Kwaki at 13%. It's what was the best part of 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 17?
Oh. I'm not gonna lie, the Kawaki part I said was simultaneously the funniest and coolest part. Like, it was kind of funny. The way he just rips the cigarette out of his mouth, I thought was pretty funny. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's really all it was. Just funny and cool, but...
When I was first reading it, I thought that
something.
he was holding a second cigarette.
That... a second cigarette, okay, that's pretty funny.
Yeah. We'll definitely get to it.
By the way, if the noise suppression of Discord should probably help with this, but if my brother's car music is noticeable, just let me know and we'll turn it down.
Okay. As of right now, it seems fine.
Yeah, well, right now it's not funny.
Yeah, just let me know, because
We're trying to make
the drive's not long, so I also like to listen.
Yeah. Anyway,
Shout out
well,
Kaiser's
actually,
brothers.
well, since you're talking about,
Not to interrupt, which one's faster, the car or if I go the other?
anyway, speaking of the Amado Kawaki part, so for you personally,
Yeah.
were you surprised that they already got to that scene in this chapter?
I mean, you already know I am for the most part, but I'm not overly surprised after having read this chapter in full.
Yeah. I feel pretty much the same way, because part of it depends on whether. So I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head. I don't know, but I can still explain the point anyway. Just because the end of the chapter was what it was, doesn't inherently mean that, like, next chapter the limiters will come off. In theory, they could wait 5 chapters before resuming this scene. Like, they've done that sort of thing before. So it's not like it's necessarily gonna be like a rush to get the limiters off for one thing. Granted, they easily could, just like with code, but it's not inherently the case. Okay? Well, thoughts on that first?
Yeah, for the most part, I agree, because I honestly, I forget where you said it. It might have been in the Discord. Shout out the Discord. I'll link the Discord in case anyone hasn't joined and they would like to join. So invite people and make a link. And yeah, this is where we talk about a ton of things, including the chapter early and other podcast things. So definitely join in case you haven't. So there you go. Yeah, and I will pin this as well. Anyways, back to what I was saying. I forgot where you said it, but you said somewhere that you thought... I forgot what you said. Hey, what was it? About the limiters. What were you saying? I got so caught up. I got lost in the sauce. You were saying something about the limiters and them coming off, and what were you saying? Okay, just go ahead and repeat what you just said, I guess.
So sorry, I was going back and forth with my
No, you good.
Trying to let him finish saying what you're saying. So yeah, so obviously, like, the scene happened the way it was, and I couldn't think of an example off the top of my head that does the concept I was explaining. But, like, just because the end of this chapter is Kawaki being like, hey, remove my limiters, doesn't necessarily mean that in chapter 18, 19, so on, they're gonna resume that scene. They could just put the scene on pause.
Yeah.
They've done that sort of thing numerous times before.
Yeah. Okay. You can. Okay. So pause right there. Yeah. Okay. So I know exactly what I was gonna say. So I am gonna be nitpicky here. I'll completely admit it, because in totality, I agree with the concept. But technically, just to play correctionist here, Kawaki hasn't asked to remove the limiters yet. I just want to throw that out there.
Oh yeah.
He has not done that.
He just said to bring up my power to its max.
I don't think he said
like
that
the
either.
implication.
Well, at least in the translation I read, which I think there's only one, he's only saying that there's a lot they need to talk about or whatever. Okay, no, he does say you're going to draw out my powers. Never mind.
Yeah. So.
Okay,
Brandon,
yeah. No, I was just
there's
thinking.
a lot we need to talk about thing.
I've got
is
tons
another
I want to say
interesting
to
thing.
you. Okay, so he's saying,
Okay,
but
go ahead.
first you're gonna. Okay, so no, technically he is saying to remove their limiters, but he hasn't asked yet. As well, to be fair, he's just saying that he is going to do it first, and he's not saying that he's going to do it now. He's just going to do it before Kawaki says the tons of things he wants to tell him. Could be a month from now, could be a year from now.
Exactly. That's all the more reason why this scene could be put on pause. I mean, yeah, but I mean, even if hypothetically next chapter the limiters get removed again, just because of the nature of the timing with stuff, they could spend 3 chapters dragging out something with the Konohamaru Shinju stuff before cutting back. So it doesn't inherently mean that Kawaki is just going to rush right over. He could, but it doesn't mean that that will happen. That said, how far do you think they'll go? So let's just assume the limiters come off in this arc. I can't imagine they won't come off in the arc at this point. How far do you think they'll go with Kawaki? Like, will it just end with that? That's it? Or do you think they'll do other things?
I think they will do other things because they're doing this here this early on. I before that, I do want to add, I personally would have liked this better if he just reversed the order of things he said here. Or he just takes off the but, so he's saying, I've got tons I want to say to you first. But you're going to draw out all of my powers to their fullest extent, implying that's going to happen later. Like, I want that to happen at the end of the conversation, not the beginning of it.
Yeah, honestly, that's kind of tricky. Could go either way, because on one hand, you could have him just start asking him questions, and then at the end, he's like, like, all right, well, blah, 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 you're removing the limiters now, buddy. And that could be like the big bang ending, kind of like with Code. Granted, I guess they talk slightly after being at the point. Granted, Code didn't have other questions asked, is the problem, but on the other hand, though, you can have him get the limiters off and then question them, because depending on what questions he's going to ask, there could be some major revelations that are far more interesting than his stupid limiters, which would make sense to put after in that case, because hypothetically, this is something I'm going to bring up, but hypothetically, it's revealed that Obito is immune to omnipotence. I don't want that to be the first thing, and then the limiters come on. I just feel like the limiters are just whatever at that point. The other way around is more cool, because, like, Obito being immune is way more interesting than stupid limiters.
Yeah, I don't care about the limiters all that
So
much.
that's part of the problem.
Now, I will say, regardless of what does happen, so I don't know why Code wouldn't have limiters. Amado absolutely would have, or not limiters, but like a shutdown code. Amado absolutely would have put one on Code, so I don't know why he wouldn't. But assuming he just didn't, for whatever reason, maybe he couldn't, then even then, this would be separated from that instance where he can just seemingly deactivate Kawaki at any point. Assuming that he wasn't lying to Shikamaru, which I don't know why he would be. And so I'm assuming.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Koji.
I don't think he was. I'm pretty sure it's not just the Shikamaru. He also said it to Ada. It's like, he said it multiple times. It's like one of his forms of insurance, and it makes sense as a form of insurance, and to not actually have that thing would be really stupid at that point.
Mm-hmm. And Kawaki isn't gonna like see it coming.
And
Kawaki doesn't even know he can do that.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just gonna say
exactly.
He's just gonna say, "Oh, Kawaki, the blender turns Tuesday," and the Kawaki's gonna be like, "What?" And he's gonna fall asleep. So he's not gonna know it before it's happening. Exactly. He's not gonna be like, "Oh, the blender! Oh, I gotta stop him now!" It's like, no.
Yeah, because nobody's told him about it. Like, he can have his guesses or whatever, but he doesn't know. And now, obviously, part of the issue would be like, well, you would think he has one in code because, first of all, why not? Second of all, again would probably approve of it because he wanted code limited because he was too strong, you know. So why wouldn't he want the backup just in case if he can have it? And even if Jigen I still feel like Amino could have got. I don't think Jigen would have cared if he had one on code. I understand not wanting in Kawaki or whatever, but like,
Oh, that's odd.
there's no reason for him to not want it in code. Like, if anything, he's probably asking for it.
Yeah, Kamui, could you put the mic back to where it was? In terms of distance from the mouth?
What happened to the... Shoot. Why did my headphones disconnect?
Oh, that's why it's way louder? Okay.
Wait, hold on a second. What the hell, bro? This is so stupid sometimes.
Oh, Kamui's clearly at the store. Okay. Anyways, all of that is to say that oh my god, okay, now I'm echoing.
Oh my god, okay, now I'm echoing.
Kamui. Okay, am I good? Kamui, maybe if you can mute while you figure that out.
Maybe if you can mute while you figure that out.
Or... Oh, are we good? I was just gonna mute you on my end, but if we're good, then that's fine. That's good. Okay. Well, while Kamui is working on that, I'll say that all of that is to say, this conversation is going to go exactly as Amado wants it to. If he wants to deactivate Kawaki, he can at literally any time, and Kawaki's not going to be able to stop him. And I'm assuming once he's deactivated, Amado can just tamper with his memories to just forget about the limiters or whatever else he wants him to forget about, or potentially add in new, even false memories, or reawaken memories that he had previously deactivated, potentially. Which could be interesting as well. So whether it's new memories, fake memories, false memories, or real memories, or shutdown memories, or reawaken memories,
Okay.
so lots of possibilities.
I'm back.
Okay, I'm assuming you heard all of that?
No, I heard none of that.
We can move on.
So what did you say?
Okay.
Okay.
Amado's the one in control here. He's gonna get exactly what he wants.
Yeah. Well, what did you want to move on to then?
Okay. So I was thinking, it's not a blind reaction. But if we go through the chapter chronologically, we can essentially do a afterthought reaction to the chapter.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay. So, couple things I want to say, starting with the opening page. So, Araya has a pretty cool design, I'll admit it, from at least his part 1 design. I like this design more. With this, like, visor, sand shinobi thing covering his eyes or whatever, that's fine. But, like, I didn't realize he had a beard last chapter. I don't know if it's just you, his new time skip design.
But you didn't notice?
I did not realize the black beard. No, that's, like, the most prominent beard in the entire franchise, is it not? The way it's, like, pointed like that?
Well, I don't think it's the most prominent compared to, like, Amado and Koji, but, like, hey, it's prominent, sure. I don't know about the most.
It's definitely the most prominent. That thing could poke an eye out.
Okay. I think that might be an over-exaggeration.
It might not have the most surface area.
Like, but depends what you mean by prominent, then, because are you just saying it's the most pointy? That's
no, it's not. It might
like
not have the longest hairs, and it might not cover the most skin, but it's the most beardy beard of all beards in the entire series.
Okay. I'm not looking at it to confirm, but I feel like that's just not true.
It definitely is, unless you can think of someone else.
But yes, it's noticeable beard. I agree. There is a beard there, and it is noticeable.
Yeah. Well, that's not my favorite part of this design at all. My favorite part is his sand belt buckle. I was losing my noggin with that one. That's freaking awesome, dude. That's freaking a dope belt. I want that in real life, not just as a Naruto reference. For those, if you know, you know. It just looks cool in general. It's a freaking awesome design choice. A sand belt buckle? That's freaking dope, dude. In comparison, Araya with her fanny pack normal belt buckle. Oh my god. Oh, contrast is unbelievable. Bros with the drip on this
I'll have
one.
to check it.
Throw out the rest of the design. I don't care. The belt buckle has to stay. Freaking dope, dude.
I honestly didn't pay any attention to it, so I'll have to check later. I don't want to dare leave this tab in case it messes it up. But so I actually have no idea what you're talking about because I didn't look. I just saw it and moved on. No offense to freaking Araya and Yodo, but like, story hasn't given me a reason to care.
Yeah.
About their designs.
Aside from the anime, which it's not the manga, but I don't care. It's the story. That being said, Araya's design, Yodo's design, on the other hand, as Cam and others have pointed out, it just doesn't belong in the Boruto series. Like, Ikimoto just is inspired by K-pop, so much so that it's just ridiculous. Like, I think I'm gonna find Cam's photo.
Has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, 16, by the way. Should I point that out there? But happy birthday to Cam.
Might even be 15, actually.
Either way, how do I find Cam's from Cam? Yeah. So who is this again? This is Christina Aguilera. Is that who this is? Yeah, Christina Aguilera.
I have no idea. I didn't actually look at the name.
Yeah, that's who it's inspired by. Cam posted the picture. And it's very obviously meant to be that, at least seemingly, it's got the same fit going on with the I don't know what this is, the underwear line thing going above the hip, but shout out Cam.
Yeah, like Naruto explained. It's not like a thong or whatever. It's some strap thing that Japanese culture, blah blah blah. I don't know.
Yeah.
It ain't that cool looking, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then Sakura with the choker. Yeah, I don't want to hear it. Either way. It's clearly like fashionable design choices, but still, it's K-pop, which is the point. As well as the fuzzy boots. Do we even need to begin?
And then again, sorry, I was talking.
The fuzzy boots, bro. The pink bear boots or whatever it is. The slippers.
Yeah, the very ninja aesthetic, right?
Yeah. It's like she's going into this serious mission where her best friend, practically brother, was turned into a monster, and she's having to confront to kill that monster. And she's pulling up in these things. But yeah, I know how I can get to it. Has, I guess, image. Okay, it's gonna take a minute. I'm gonna scroll back a couple days probably to wherever those pink boots were posted, because that was pretty funny. Shout out the fairy tale fan service that Ash was going on about. Oh yeah, and the last Boruto illustration of the year looked pretty cool. Ikimoto spent 90% of the time on Boruto's lips, but I'm stealing that from someone else. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, he spends more time on these non-chapter things than he does on the actual chapter.
I know, bro.
Like, literally, bro. It's, like, crazy. You look at the quality, like, side by side, it's like, bro, like, why don't you spend more time in the actual chapter?
I know. Freaking hilarious. Okay, definitely getting close now. Oh, yeah, I just want to find the pink boots from real life. Here's where I posted them. I could have sworn someone else had the pink boots from real life somewhere in there. Because you remember seeing in the Discord too, right? Or did you not see that?
Are you referring to the boots inspiration?
Yeah.
What? I didn't look, to be honest. I don't know.
Okay. Well. Not here for sure, so it's definitely somewhere. Either way, join the Discord, maybe you'll let me know. Space, if you know where it is, if you can at me, please. Pretty please and thank you. Otherwise, maybe Cam like DM'd me about it. Yeah, I'm gonna find it. It's definitely a thing from Discord somewhere. Just sand and mountain number 446. Hurrah. You will have fun with this arc since there aren't any backgrounds to draw. No, I was noticing that in this chapter as well. There's like no backgrounds half the time. It's literally just the character, and that's it for like a lot of these panels. I don't know if you noticed that, but that's pretty funny. But yeah. Let me see if I can find the boots. Boots are meant for walking. That's just what they'll do. These boots will walk all over you. Shout out that I'm probably copyright for that. Okay, so it's not in mine and Cam's DNs. Which means the only other place I would know to check would be our group chat. Going to images. John from Attack on Titan being hot is stupid. Okay. Probably gonna be here. Somewhere. Sailor Moon. Oh, the freaking Attack on Titan rumbling ornament thing. I thought this was funny. Yeah, this is our Christmas stream right here. I need to save that. That's hilarious. Like this. So stupid, bro. Yes. Freaking good. Okay. Like that. Boom. That'll be there for later. Okay. Yeah, I don't know where the boots are, but that's okay. We don't need to find the boots exactly. If anything, I could just look them up. Sorry, what? I wasn't paying attention. I'm looking for the pink boots in real life. Pink fur boots. Yeah, someone posted these in the chat.
I'm thinking about it. I think someone else might have put it in the Discord, not Cam. That might be why.
Maybe, but I was looking through all the pictures and I couldn't find them. I don't know. Maybe they deleted it. But either way, it's hilarious that she's actually pulling up in this. So, yeah. Anyways, guess I'll post these. This is freaking funny. Alright. But that's enough on the cover page. Let's get to the actual chapter now. The pink jacket, I think, goes with the boots, but yeah. Yeah, okay, so starting with Sumare's speech to Sarada as like a recap. It's an interesting choice, considering obviously this basically just reconfirms that this arc is about romantic love. It's the theme of this arc, especially as we see with Konohamaru later on, in a couple other instances. But I felt like this was a little bit weird to put here, because it never directly has an impact on this chapter itself. It's probably going to be a thing going forwards, and like it's noted a couple times. Mitsuki's given Sarada the side eye, and it's like clear that Sarada's not focused, as she says to Konohamaru, "Sorry, I'll focus now." Blah blah. It's weird that first of all, Sarada isn't focused on the mission. Sarada's character would focus on the mission over this conversation. I'm not going to pretend like there aren't conversations that Sarada couldn't focus on above the mission, or maybe that this is a boring part of the mission, but it's weird that Sarada, of all characters, is allowing, of all conversations, this one to distract her from, of all missions, this mission.
I mean, I'll say that in terms of the opening, kind of like George's bookstore, does it really have any bearing on this chapter? No.
It will in the future.
But it's, well, I guess the relation's the love thing, but ignoring that, it's more just like it's an ongoing thing for Sarada in this arc that she's going to keep reflecting on.
Yeah. And
especially if Boruto does show up or do anything in any capacity, maybe by the end of the arc, she's able to, quote, herself in Boruto's shoes and do something different from how she would have before. So I can understand that, but other than Mitsuki giving her the side eye, it doesn't actually do much. And it is a little weird for her to be overly thinking about this. Like, I don't know. It's like,
Yeah, bro. So
I
much
feel
so
like
that
I guess the original
Kanohamaru is
really
like
got to her.
noting it. Like Mitsuki's one thing, because I can imagine
Yeah, this
observant
Sen
Mitsuki.
Shinobi will laugh at you.
Like I can imagine if Sarada breathes wrong, her heartbeat is out of rhythm. Mitsuki's gonna pick up on it immediately. But like Konohamaru picking up on that's she's going crazy with this.
Freaking Yodo just looks at her and guesses it correctly. Like, they didn't know her really.
It's insane, bro. Yeah. They're really trying to rub it in. So again, this isn't a critique, at least not yet, and I doubt it will be. It's merely an observation to see how they're going to do it later, which I can't imagine they're gonna play it in a wrong way, considering they're doing this now. Like, why would they be doing this now if they're not gonna play into it later to where it needed to be here now rather than later? But for when it's relevant later, I'm gonna be curious why they had it here as opposed to those later chapters. Again, not the biggest deal in the world, especially considering, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the start of the volume. The new volume, the next volume.
I have no idea as far as volume stuff goes.
Assuming this is the start of the next volume, then that should be fine either way, because it's obviously going to be in the volume release, whatever this is leading to. Therefore, it's not going to matter if it's not in this chapter, because it's about the volume, not about the chapter at that point. Similarly, and we'll get to it, the Soul Thorn. It's definitively going to be used within the next, 4 or so chapters. In some regard. It has to be. For the volume to work. It's 100% going to be. I'm just pointing that out now.
Yeah, honestly, I thought it was weird that they... So I'm not surprised that this is the solution with the soul thorns, where you just stick it in a tree. Like, I was guessing that too. But it's weird that they kept dodging the how it works for so long, only for it to just be that simple. Like, for what reason? Like, why is Coach at the like, I'll explain it. You just say, yeah, you stick it in the tree and move on. Like, you don't need this in-depth explanation. It's a half of a sentence. They just kept avoiding it over and over and over again. For what reason? It's that simple.
Yeah. To be fair, they do this a lot with a lot of other things as well. So I'm not surprised. But also, I feel like you were the one overly asking the question, because I assumed this was how it worked, even though I didn't know. But it's weird that it is as simple as it is. I'll say that. Because also, what are the implications here? So you just stick it in the tree and they are free. But why/how? Because otherwise, I don't think you would need the Soul Thorn. You would just need a little bit of their chakra, unless there's something else in the Soul Thorn that you're giving them to reawaken them. But I don't know why giving them a small amount of their own chakra would even awaken them at all. Like, if anything, wouldn't the tree just absorb the extra chakra of them that you're giving them? Since it's absorbing their chakra anyways? I'm assuming it's constantly draining their chakra perpetually. So I don't see what giving them extra chakra do. Unless it's like Boruto waking up from Momoshiki, to where it's because he's getting his chakra back, but then Momoshiki's only taking over because he's out of chakra. But I don't think these tree people are necessarily out of chakra. They could be drained of almost all their chakra, so maybe that's the explanation. But I don't think that's why they're asleep. Similar to Boruto, he's not falling asleep because he's out of chakra. Momoshiki's taking over because he's low on chakra.
It's weird because it feels like the soul thorns just are like an accumulation of their chakra. It's basically like a chakra fruit, but for that one person. Then that's it. And why is it that it reawakens them if you stick it in their tree? But it's like they're still like, in theory, it should just absorb their chakra again and just give it back to the Tentos and just make another soul. Like, you remember that chapter where they awaken Ryu? It would just do that again, I feel like. So it doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
Like, I don't understand how this is supposed to work. But, like,
Seems
that's just what
simple.
it seems like they're going for.
Exactly, because it does seem too simple. It is weird in that regard. Okay. So the next thing. What is this toad? Looking at chapter 17, I'm more curious on the toad now than ever before.
That toad is absolutely tiny, bro. It's like the two fingers are sticking out, and it's smaller than them. I was like, well, since when does he have toads this small?
Yeah, like it's not as big as Ryu's foot, which again, I think these claw grime monsters are bigger than you're leading on. Of you're saying, oh, Ryu's like 5'2" or what? You know, I think regardless of the Shinju, I think the claw grimes are just bigger monster type things. Regardless of that, Ryu isn't small by any means, and but he's not big either. This frog is like the size, unironically, of his toenail. And like, I just want people to make a comparison with their own toenail. Consider a frog the size of your toenail, viewer watching at home.
But
that's a small toad.
Here's the weird thing: if Koji has toads this small, why isn't he using them more often for like everything? It just would work better than the bigger one.
Well, there's also another possibility. Looking at the previous chapter, assuming the toad shrunk, it's possible that it's shrinking from drying out in the sun / aging as toads do, as we know. If it's from the aging, we don't know.
That's an interesting theory.
We don't know the time jump between last chapter and this chapter. What if this has been like a 3-month odyssey of of a mission so far, of them just trying to deduce what is this toad, as the toad is alive and shrinking.
They just been staring at it.
Yeah.
What is this toad? No wonder Code was confused that chapter.
But yes, this toad is abnormally small, which I find hilarious. The especially considering it. First of all, it doesn't need to be this small. I don't know why it's this small. It does have no purpose being this small. If anything, it just shows that Ryu and Matsuri have even more excellent observations than normal. But then the funny part is, again, Mitsuki finds one of the pieces of metal later in the chapter. It's weird if this toad just had that metal, because that metal should be like 3 times bigger than the toad, probably, if not as big as a toad, which I just find goofy.
How would he even carry the emblem?
It's gonna be like, yeah, it's gonna be like in Attack on Titan later seasons, so spoilers there. It's gonna be like the Cart Titan, basically. That's how I'm imagining it.
Aaron carrying the boulder. Aaron carrying the boulder.
Yes, bro. I just can't believe it. Freaking hilarious. Also, the fact that that piece of metal was so far away from the toad, as the toad is seemingly dead, which makes no sense considering the toads shouldn't be alive, considering they should be like Walky Talkies anyways. I don't know why the piece of metal was so far away from it, or why the toad's dead. Maybe, like, it's overheating from the sun of the desert. In which case, I don't know why Koji or Boruto wouldn't account for that and have the toad, like, burrow in the sand or something. In which case, I don't know why it wouldn't be doing that anyways, to not be discovered by the Shinju.
Well, besides that last part, like, the toad was in the desert looking for Boruto for God knows how long before he found him, and he didn't dry up, so...
Yeah, that's a good point. It's just weird. Again, I don't know why the metal got so far away. Maybe the sand, drift, wind blew it away, but that's weird. Also, side note, is also the fact that Mitsuki picked it up. Like, yes, I get that they're trying to find Boruto, like, as a side thing. But he's more likely to teleport to you if you don't mess with his metal. Since that's the thing he's gonna teleport to. At the very least, don't point it out to the Shinju. Like, yeah, like, you do the double agent crossing thing of like, hey, let's work to, find clues on Boruto. But once Mitsuki actually finds the metal, he should, like, cover it himself.
Mitsuki could easily find it with his snake just slithering around anyway. Like...
It's like the point is to separate them, and it's like they're just screwing Boruto over. Hypothetically, if they did need Boruto's help, they're actively harming themselves by doing this. Like, they are actually unironically just helping the Shinju here for no reason.
Now they're gonna find, but like, what if Boruto teleports to them and like it's right in front of the Shinju? They just beat him.
Like hypothetically, if Mitsuki is in the
If
fight
Matsuri
with
keeps
Ryu,
the medal, it takes it back.
yeah, Mitsuki's in a fight with Ryu. I guess that Boruto, when he teleports, he's going to be standing on Mitsuki's forehead like he was against Code in the middle of the fight. He's gonna do something. That's weird. Like, what was okay? First of all, like, what was Mitsuki gonna do if Ryu took that piece of metal, which is the only, I'm assuming the only piece of metal around for Boruto to teleport to, and Ryu either destroys it or brings it back to his home base? Boruto couldn't teleport to the desert, even if he wanted to go against Koji at that point. And Mitsuki and the rest would just be screwed. You should just be hiding it on his person or something. Leave it where it is. I don't know. Don't tell the Shinju. You don't know what they're gonna do. Freaking crazy, bro. Like, it's possible freaking Matsuri, all she needed was that piece of metal, and through metallic resonance, she was gonna track down Boruto's location, similar to what Naruto did to find Nagato. You never know. So, I don't know. Anyways, next we have Matsuri talking about the trees. And there's a lot of possibilities here, and you've mentioned a couple of them in your chapter review. One thing that I haven't seen other people mention, which I thought was not my first thought, but I think it's a very likely thought, is she could be just referring to the Claw Grimes. We saw that she came with Claw Grimes, and that Claw Grimes would be underground where Gaara is right now. It would make sense, definitely, obviously, that she could communicate with the Claw Grimes, regardless if she has other things. And so it would make sense that, considering she has Claw Grimes all over the world, at this point probably, that she could be referring to the trees as Claw Grimes. You know, the tree-like monsters. It would make sense. It wouldn't make as much sense for Ryu to not know, but I don't think Ryu has met a Claw Grime, to be fair. But it'd be weird if Ryu just didn't have knowledge of Claw Grime, if he has knowledge of all these other things as they are. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Like, he knows what a desert is, but he doesn't know what a Claw Grime is. He knows what shinobi are, but he doesn't know what a Claw Grime is. It seems a little bit weird to me. But whatever. Like, he doesn't know what the trees are in general, so that's weird. He seems very aloof this chapter, I'll give him that. But yeah. Kamui, you were not in the stage. I'm assuming you did it on purpose, maybe? Instead of muting? But I invited you back, in case you didn't know. Well, while we wait on that, other possibilities is this could be similar to Uzuhiko, the Earth's chakra that Boruto is referencing. It's possible that Matsuri has some sort of connection to Ninshu chakra, or all things, or just the Earth itself, or whatever. So that's another possibility. It's whatever fundamental aspect Uzuhiko's foundations is rooted in. Matsuri could be using that. The rotation of the Earth's chakra. Another possibility, this one's a little bit of a stretch, but it's definitely possible. It could be literally the roots of the Divine Tree itself. As we saw in the Hagoromo filler flashback from Naruto Shippuden, they defeated Kaguya / the Ten Tails and sealed away the Geto Mazo into the moon, etc., etc. But even then, even in Indra and Ashra's era, freaking decades later, even then, it's not like the Divine Trees just stopped existing. The roots were all over the place, and Indra and Ashra had to prevent the roots from causing active direct damage harm to villages spread across the world itself. So I think it's like the Zetsu and Boruto, to where they just still are a thing. It's not like they all died or whatever. And I can imagine in a video game, and in Saruto, you're just gonna be like open world fighting Zetsus and claw grimes and whatever else. I can imagine this is just gonna be an ongoing perpetual threat, just like how in Dragon Ball they have a bunch of threats throughout the world continually. Just whether androids randomly made by Dr. Gero or the Cybermen, freaking always. Shout out the Kakarot game or Budokai 2 or whatever. There's always a possibility that can always be a threat forevermore, forever, always, going forward. But yeah, it's possible, based on that the roots of the divine tree are just spread across the world, and it's possible, at least through the Earth's crust deep down below, possibly. Maybe that's where it is. If it's not like an active threat on the surface, it's at least possibly down there. That could be what she's been talking about. But that I would assume is obvious that that's not the same Tin Tails that Matsuri derives from, which would be Tin Tails communication in and of itself. Two different Tin Tails are actively communicating, assuming that's the case. The next possibility would just be that Matsuri literally is a sensory type, and she's just full of it here. Like, she's just capping. It's not that they're everywhere. There's no trees, even deep below ground or whatever. It's just that Yodo, or whatever, she's just correct. And she just is talking, like Matsuri just is a sensory type. She has sensory type abilities. So whatever she's referring to, it could just be an ability that has nothing to do with the trees. I forgot that I was showing my guy. I'm sorry, chat, but that's okay. Don't know how long I was showing, but that's alright. Well, maybe when Kamui comes back, he can give us thoughts on that. But for now, I guess I'll read chat. Chat, I will ask, what do you think Matsuri is
Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, I hear you now.
Okay, okay, so,
Oh boy.
for context, out of nowhere, it just started, so, you know, like, you, like, the bunny noise effect to where all of a sudden it gets really high-pitched, like, you know what I'm talking about? Anyway, you were doing that, and I just couldn't understand what you were saying, and I couldn't take you seriously either. And so I left and tried to fix that after I was done checking out, and I have no idea what you've been talking about.
I was talking about
I
the different interpretations for Matsuri's sensory abilities, the trees.
Mm-hmm.
So which one do you think it
Can you
is?
briefly restate?
Yeah, okay, I'll recap
briefly
them,
restate,
since I've
yeah.
explained, I think, all of them at this point. So I'll go even in backwards order, since what I just said. So, the least likely, in my opinion, is that the trees, they just don't exist, Matsuri's just full of herself, and it just straight up is sensory ability, which is what Araya is describing it as, or Yodo is describing it as.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She just does have sensory ability. Moegi's ability, deriving from Moegi's ability, that's what you mentioned in your review. That's 2.
Yeah.
A third could be that it's the god tree from, like, Hagoromo's era. The roots of the god tree spread across the world. She could be tapping into that, communicating, accessing that. That's a possibility. A fourth one would be the claw grimes itself, which I don't see a lot of people talking about. Which I'm surprised, considering Matsuri came underground originally with the claw grimes, and imagine that she could communicate with the claw grimes. The weird thing is that Ryu wouldn't know what claw grimes are in this case, but he knows what a desert is and shinobi are, etc., etc. Well, that's okay.
Okay, we can go through each one. So
there's more.
Starting
there's
with
another
the claw grind there.
One more would be
okay, never mind.
Earth's chakra. Whatever fundamental thing that Uzuhiko taps into could be what Matsuri is using.
It's not okay, but it's not actually chakra. Like the Naruto website databook page scan confirms that Boruto's just calling it that, and it's really just centrifugal energies. Not nature energy. It's so stupid that they're doing it the way they are. But it's like kinetic energy, but for spinning.
Yes, but I don't care.
That's
I'm
the
gonna keep
energy.
calling it chakra anyways.
Okay.
One more possibility, which
Well,
I
that's
also
the
haven't
series'
mentioned.
fault for doing that too.
Yeah, I agree. One more possibility is that she's referring to literal trees. Oh, but what trees? This is a desert, as Ryu would say. Well, in this case, there just would be literal trees underground everywhere, like in an oasis, as an example.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a possibility.
Yeah.
Yes, it's normal trees.
So
it's like
through
6 or
each
7
one,
possibilities.
I guess I would agree. First one you said, just Matsuri is just full of it, and the trees don't exist. I doubt it because just the question is why. Why write that in? It is weird. It's, why? So I doubt that one. Going back to the clock rhyme, my contention with that is the clock rhyme have the ability to like understand this stuff right now? Like, are they sentient enough to just tell Matsuri where Boruto is?
Well, I think
why
it'd
are
be
they
less of the
underground?
clog rhymes telling Matsuri and more like Matsuri accessing that information through the clog rhymes instinctual whatever
I
observation.
agree, but she's making it seem a little bit more sentient than that. But I won't say it's impossible. But the other question is
agree.
like, why are the clog rhyme underground? Like, why don't they just have clog rhyme and she just says, "I'm doing it through the clog rhyme," like or
Yeah.
whatever.
I mean, it would make sense for Matsuri to refer to the
this kinda
clog rhymes
brings us
as tree. They are tree people, after all. Like, I can imagine they would refer to each other as trees as well.
Yeah.
And, let's throw that in as an 8th possibility.
The problem is,
she's referring to a new Shinju that we haven't been introduced to yet. Or like Ash was saying, for this potentially being build up, what if Mamushi is in the desert and that's who she's referring to? And Koji was just wrong.
I think, if anything, it would, because they use trees plural, I think, if anything, she'd be referring to, like, countless underground Shinju. But even then, though, how would the underground Shinju, whether it's clock rhyme or Shinju, she references underground ones. How would they know any of this information? Because for trees, you would argue it's just, like, sensing it through the chakra in the ground and whatnot. But the clock rhyme aren't just doing that. The Shinju aren't just doing that, because if they were, then they would just all have the same information these trees do. So it seems to be, in my opinion, stemming from like divine tree shenanigans. Like, I don't think she's referring to regular trees underground, though she could be. It's probably, if I had to guess, it's probably like divine tree roots or something.
Agreed.
She's tapping into, but I could be wrong. There could just be regular ass trees that just grow underground.
Well, on that note, regardless of which interpretation, it's also weird that the trees can sense this, but can't tell Matsuri where the hideout is. Unless either Koji is doing something to mask the actual chakra of that place in and of itself, since he's doing the Genjutsu entrance thing, which is also crazy, or Orochimaru has that embedded into the layer in the first place. Or a third possibility, which I think is the least likely, it's like the Bermuda Triangle, to where just naturally, geologically, that area just has screwy chakra signatures or something. I don't know. Maybe that's why Orochimaru built it.
Yeah, because if that's the case, I feel like Orochimaru would just stay there, even never leave.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is still weird that like the trees, quote unquote, are like having this information in the first place. We'll come back to that in a moment. Narrowing down our options again, though, because seemingly only Matsuri can do this. Ryu's not doing it, Mamushi's not doing it. They're assigning Matsuri to do this in the first place. Seems specific to Matsuri who can do this. This really gives us one of two options. It's either Moegi Wood-style shenanigans, which I don't like because, well, Ten Tails can do Wood-style, Jura's not doing this either. But this is where you get to Moegi's ability, whether it's just standard sensory abilities and now it's applying to trees because they're divine trees, or it's the penetration jutsu, which she's using on trees to read basically through the tree's chakra, she's understanding its thoughts and like ninja related things in that sense. I feel like it has to be one of those two personally, which is close enough to the video topic I had, so I'm fine with that. Either way, I count it.
Yeah. The implications of it being the
Just think that's
previous
cooler.
god tree are huge. So I think I would like that just for the world building alone. Not only for the previous god tree to still be
Like I said,
literally
you can combine
active,
both.
but also the fact that this is the first and only documented case of Ten Tails communication, considering Matsuri comes from a different, separate Ten Tails.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be really interesting to
And
see where that leads to.
personally, my favorite option is using both. It's the trees are either the previous god tree on Earth, or somehow, in some weird way, the Ishiki Ten Tails has roots here too.
Mhm.
Either case, the point is it's a god tree, preferably the original and Kaguya's. And then she's using Moegi's ability to tap into its knowledge.
Yeah. One observation I was making just the other day, just unrelated a little bit to this chapter, considering how catastrophic of a threat the Shinju are, it's kind of, and I already thought about it afterwards, so I am actually okay with it. It's kind of funny / weird that Boruto would focus so heavily on Code in the first couple chapters, as opposed to, because Koji can tell him what happened, as opposed to potentially going to, like, save Moegi or Soegi or anyone else who could be bit by a Clawgrime, just to prevent someone like Matsuri from existing, considering I think Matsuri is currently the most dangerous Shinju, even above Jura, in terms of, like, Boruto or the world, not because she's the most powerful. In fact, I think it's best if she's the least powerful Shinju, but because of the sensory type, which directly essentially assists or buffs the other Shinju. She's technically, in Balloon's terms, she's a monkey village or the alchemist top path. No, you know what? The radar scanner village is a great analogy. Matsuri is the radar scanner village from Balloon's TD6. The most dangerous to the balloons. Freaking Monkey Intelligence Bureau. But anyways, yeah. So it's kind of weird considering how effortlessly he dealt with Code and how effortlessly he can deal with the Clawgram, just to not like make a shadow clone or something just to go save Moegi so that Matsuri can't exist or something along the lines of that. If Jura formed from Kawaki's chakra from the Clawgram that choke slammed him, then go save him there, etc., etc. Go save Soegi so Soegi can't be a Shinju. Yes, I think even if you saved Bug and he'd Sasuke, I think Jura himself would have formed anyways. Again, unless you're saying Jura could only form from Kawaki's chakra. In which case you could have just prevented the Shinju outright. But if the Shinju formed just based on timeline stuff of they were just going to form at that moment of time regardless, then Jura would have formed regardless, which is why I'm okay with it, considering Jura's the only one that's actually the impossible threat to where the other Shinju essentially don't matter. In which case he should just be dealing with Code to try and stop Jura from forming by getting to the Ten Tails immediately anyways. But if that's not the case, then just preventing the Shinju from existing in the first place, not in terms of time, but in terms of at all, would seemingly be more efficient. Like, if anything, ignore Code entirely, since Code's just going to be following you, probably. Go to Konoha, deal with the other Clawgrimes instead of Code. At that moment, the Clawgrimes are infinitely more of a threat than Code, since those Clawgrimes are potentially Jura, as opposed to Code. Freaking let Code destroy the village for 5-10 minutes, and then come back to Code afterwards if you want.
Okay, hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. But thoughts?
Okay, I'm back. I'm back home, and okay.
Okay.
I don't know anything you just said, but now I don't have to deal with this anymore. I'm home, and we're good.
Okay. So you have no idea what I was just talking about.
No. For the last like 5 minutes, probably. Last thing I heard you say is something about Matsuri. You prefer her to be the most dangerous or whatever, even if she's not the strongest and whatnot.
Yeah, okay. I'll just recap again what I was saying. It's weird that Boruto was focusing so much on code rather than the claw grimes in the first couple chapters, considering he could have prevented Matsuri from existing, which he would have known about, considering Koji would have told him. Code wasn't a threat,
So I think
neither
the argument
was the
against it,
claw
which I will
grimes.
then counter in a moment. I think you could have argued that, well, let's just say he saves that it's important, it's going to get devoured and that's going to be bad, whatever. The argument against that is, well, chances are they're not going to have Matsuri's ability if it's stemming from Moegi specifically.
Yeah. Oh, I guess that is another possibility. Hypothetically, Jura, assuming he was going to be formed anyways, which at that point it doesn't matter, which is why I'm okay with it, assuming that's the case. But if Jura was going to be formed anyways, in this case it's possible he would have been formed even stronger, since he wouldn't have had to share as much chakra or abilities with the other Shinju. Like, it's possible he would have just had Matsuri's sensory ability, instead of Matsuri having that as like a split off to where it's only Matsuri. It's possible that he would have had like the accumulation of all the other abilities from all the other Shinju, if this was the case. Assuming this is a Shinju-specific ability and not a Moegi ability.
Yeah. But even ignoring that aspect, Jura himself could just be stronger, though. Like, similar
Yeah,
point.
exactly.
He could just be so much stronger that it balances things out.
But if that's the case, it's almost funny to say he should be encouraging people to be consumed as trees just to make Juro weaker.
Yeah. Because, like, it seems like that's the biggest problem in Koji's eyes, so.
But I don't know, it's just kind of weird. Just an observation I was making that he just like was so adamant on focusing only solely on code. Keep in mind, he has shadow clones. When code was so effortlessly dealt with.
Like,
when the Shinju are the greatest threat.
Well, I guess this is a theory. I don't, take it how you will. It's possible that kind of like Kurama, Casey on Naruto stuff, to where if he splits up his chakra, it makes it easier for Momoshi to take over or something. Granted, story never did that. They never said that. Yeah. And that's on them. But if they did say that hypothetically, that could be like a reasonable explanation for him to not the shadow clone, because taking over would just be quote unquote worse than him saving Moegi.
I mean, bro's been spamming Flying Raijin, which is apparently a jutsu that takes a ton of chakra. But I don't know.
Well, yeah, granted, he's not doing the same jutsu, so maybe this one doesn't taste as much chakra, but either way, I agree. It's kind of cap. It's ridiculous. Like,
I don't know. Anyways, we can move on back to the chapter. That's just something I wanted to point out. Yeah, okay, so do we want to talk more on the tree thing? When I first read the tree thing, that like jolted me backwards as like the first like big thing of the chapter, because that's like huge, seemingly new information. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of like, my reaction was like, oh, that feels pretty similar to what I was just saying in my recent video. I'm glad I put that on when I did. Like, that's always my initial reaction.
Well, it made me do a double take, because I was like, wait, the trees. Wait, the trees? What trees? Oh, they're talking. Oh, okay, this is a thing that they're talking. That's not a mistranslation. Okay. That's like interesting.
Just like the trees' voices. I was like, that's weird, but like feels kind of right in the right track.
I really wish I got my blind reaction on that one. But,
yeah. It was so random though. It's just like out of pocket. She just randomly says it and moves on, and just that's the end of that.
That said, simultaneously, it potentially ruins his entire chapter, makes it a 0 out of 10. Assuming this confirms, which this was inevitably going to be the case anyways. It was more of a thing of when, not if. It was like a sooner or later deal. That Matsuri's sensory abilities are confirmed, not the penetration jutsu.
Well, no. They could still be the penetration
It
jutsu.
can. No, I'm saying if it confirms it. But at the very least, it leads it into the credence of it likely not being that. More likely than it was before. Which was completely ambiguous, which means you could absolutely say it was that for sure. Now, you can't say it for sure. Even more
Well,
so.
you could say it for sure before either. You just didn't know.
You could say it more for sure. Since there was nothing leading in any direction.
Well,
now there's something leading in a direction that could not be it.
I mean, just to quickly confirm, are you referring to the Hisoka style penetration jutsu or the actual thought reading penetration jutsu? Let's start with that.
Well, realistically, both.
Okay. Because obviously the Hisoka style penetration jutsu is like it hasn't been debunked whatsoever. Ignoring that though, I would say
that's the reason we care anyways. I don't care if it's Moegi's actual penetration jutsu. Because Moegi's actual penetration jutsu, I only care about that in the first place. Because of the Hisoka style penetration jutsu.
Yeah, as he should. But in terms of the Moegi style one, I would argue it leans in the direction of it, not against, personally, because it's effectively reading thoughts, whether it's a tree's thoughts or a human's thoughts, it's doing the thing of that jutsu.
Well, considering Moegi has wood style anyways, that could also be a part of it outside of the penetration jutsu.
Yeah. I agree. That's why I said it's one possibility. My contention or dislike for that, though, would be the fact that so does the Ten Tails, that is Jura, that the Ten Tails has wood style. So Jura should, in theory, have this ability, but he seemingly doesn't.
Exactly.
So that's why I would lean towards a Moegi thing. Not to mention that it's just cooler if it's a Moegi thing, because otherwise I ask, why Moegi? You can't give me a good answer. But if her ability, now this is entirely plot mostly, well, story will be Konohamaru stuff, but ignoring that for a moment, from a plot perspective, why Moegi? This could be a reason. Otherwise, it could have just been Soegi. Soegi could be gaily in love with Konohamaru, and the story would be exactly the same. So this gives you a reason for why Moegi in terms of the plot.
Gaily.
Which I like.
Yeah. So, definitely interesting. Forgot what I was gonna say. And then also the fact that Mamushi can
threw you for a loop with that one.
Mamushi seemingly, it seems like it's becoming more and more likely that he is the only one that can see, or at least sense Ada, regardless if the others can see or not. At least that's what they're really hammering home with Ada's dialogue. Yes, that's the only one she's concerned about. Because he's icky and gross and the target or whatever. But regardless, that's the only one they're focusing on.
And they would have worded it differently. They would have said, like, I don't mind the others watching me, but when he watches me, it gives me the ick or something.
Exactly.
Like, he's the only one to do it, and then they're constantly referencing him. She's like, well, is he going to be there? And Coach is like, no, you're safe. Like, he's not going to be there. And they're implying that the others can't do that like him. That the only person you could argue could maybe do it too would be Jura, because he immediately was just like, Senrigan, huh? Like, he knew exactly what was happening. Exactly. That's the only person you could argue. In which case, you would just argue Jura has everyone's abilities uniquely. Yeah. But that doesn't make sense for other stuff.
Well, even then, you could argue like the others at least saw Ada there, assuming the Rinnegan linked vision thing, which we'll get to that later, because I have something to say on that in this chapter. But
okay.
Well, I think at the very least that's a high possibility. But
it's a possibility, but I don't think it is the case, because
I agree.
The reason that really is happening in the case of like Nagato is because he's transmitting his chakra through all the pain bodies. They're all connected anyway. Exactly. So it makes sense. But it's not like Madara can see out of Sasuke's eye, even though it's technically made from the same guy's chakra, Hagoromo.
Mhm.
These are just different entities. Now, I know it's coming from the one single tentails, and so in theory, it could be connected and blah, blah, blah. But again, Madara and Sasuke's eyes come from, they're deriving from Hagoromo's chakra. This is deriving from, it's not even deriving from the tentails chakra because they have freaking other people's chakra mixed in the mix too. So it just feels like they're too disconnected. I don't think it's the same as what Naruto's doing.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say it like that. The way I think about it is it comes down to whether or not it's an original or real, quote unquote, Rinnegan, as opposed to like the Six Paths Rinnegan, which are like the fake Rinnegan that he just like transmits into the other person's eye, which already exists.
Yeah.
Because I think the Shinju, it's
And
not
there's
that
the fact
Jura's
that-
like doing a Six Paths sharing Rinnegan. I think that they each just individually have their own set of original real Rinnegan.
Kind of like that one clockworm that just awakened its own Rinnegan.
Exactly. Which is something I wanted to mention earlier for like, according to the trees, the Clawgrime. Well, assuming if it's Clawgrimes like that, that would make more sense, since it literally talked.
Yeah,
To be
I
fair,
agree.
it's still instinctual, only saying the word Otsutsuki. But like, that's all it would need to say in this case anyways, especially considering he's dealing with a Bordo.
Yeah. And I agree there. The only problem is if that's the case, like I feel like they should have like shown more of the well, regardless, they should have shown more of them than just the freaking one.
Exactly.
I don't know why they did that, but
Weird. Anyways. Yeah, so we get the what team are we gonna title this officially? Not Team 7, it's not Team Kazekage.
Sonoha, Team Canned.
Anyways. Team Canned, I kinda like that.
Team Canned. Or Team I can't describe it. Team Canned. It doesn't work. It's the wrong villages. Team 7 Sand. I don't know. I like Team Can. Anyway. I will say real quick, this is not important whatsoever. Like emphasize, this is not important. And you could argue it's kind of bad to an extent, but I was just happy to see that Ikimoto at least has read or watched the Boruto anime to know Yodo's hearing ability. because that's clearly what they're doing there.
Yeah,
like at least I know he might not know who EBT is, but at least he knows who Yodo is.
Exactly.
But granted, he doesn't know about Shinki's jacket, so I don't know.
Is this a new ability, by the way, for the verse? Or did someone in Naruto or Shippuden have this as well?
Well, you could argue Dosu had it based off his hearing feed in the written exam.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Where he heard the pencil strokes properly and know what they were doing. That seems like the same ability, even though this girl should be from the Sound Village with this ability. I don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, considering Kakashi's eyes and nose, I wouldn't be surprised if he had the best ears in the world, too.
Okay, that's a rewrite right now. I'm gonna write that down. Hold on a second. This is gonna be funny.
No, that's when they do it as well. When Kiba, or whenever Kakashi's like, an even better nose than Kiba, he's like, and an even better ear than Dosu.
Better ear. That's literally what I was gonna say.
Yeah, randomly name dropping him for no reason, like 300 chapters later, when he doesn't even know who Dosu is.
He's smarter than Shikamaru. He has a better sense of smell. And he has even better hearing than Tosu. Sakura is shocked upon it.
Yeah. And then she says, "Then Dosu."
Sakura. Oh, let me format this better.
And then Naruto can follow up and be like, "You don't mean that, Dosu?"
Even better.
Really hyping him up.
Wait. Toaster? Oh, whoops. Naruto. Yeah. Master Jiraiya.
Warned us about him.
Told me all about him. His sense of hearing is super psychic. Sakura.
Oh my god.
But then wait. Does that mean Kakashi can hear us right now? Naruto. ... That's right. Kakashi appears. Kakashi.
I love it. Oh my god. At this point, we just need to make like a thing under
Were
pinned
you
messages
guys
just for the abridged.
talking about me again? Yeah, that's going in the bridge.
Yeah.
Alright, anyway.
Okay.
Okay, I would have. Okay, I know this is so unimportant, but I would be screaming in joy if at any point they reference / explain Yoda's ability to be an application of Dosu's. Like Gara told me all about it. I would forgive all the sins of two lords.
Yeah. Yes, it is a copyright preventer. Thank you guys for noticing the background from back then. And yes, I did forget, but thank you for letting me know. And if I ever forget in the future, feel free to just at me in the Discord, since that's probably the easiest way to let me know anyways. What if it's just the trees the claw grimes create when they eat someone and are just not turning into Shinju due to Matsuri not choosing to? That is like an 8th possibility. I like that as an idea.
Yeah. That was one, I think I tried to say but said it poorly earlier. But yeah, that was one possibility I was thinking too, is if it's like the Soegi tree, for example. The only problem though is that like they're all above ground, not below ground. So like who got turned into a tree below ground? That's the only problem with that.
Shinki, but it's a Shinju. Ikimoto said he watched the anime every
I think
week. When it
Ryu
was
would be able to
releasing.
sense that one.
I do remember him saying that, but Ikimoto says a lot of things, to be fair.
Oh.
So.
Yeah. He could say that. It doesn't mean I believe him.
That being said, on that case, I do believe him. But anyways, so here's where I get into not a complaint, but something goofy. I am still showing my screen, right? Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really hyping this up. So Yoda's like, oh, Matsuri, she has a sensory type ability. So it might be a matter of when, not if, she catches on to us. And then later.
Ryu's the one who notices, not Matsuri.
Later.
Is that what you're going for?
Yeah, okay. And then Konohamaru's like, alright, the mission begins now. Everyone, I hope you're ready. I've emphasized twice now that we all need to be ready, and Mitsuki reiterated the fact that everyone's ready. So now, let's begin our mission. Now that we are doing the reconnaissance of the Shinju. And then they do the Hunter x Hunter thing to where, maybe you could say it was Ryu. I think it was absolutely Matsuri. Notice them.
Yeah, I didn't really remember. I thought maybe that Ryu noticed, and that's why you were saying it.
Well, first of all, I think everything here is cool. Because I thought going into it that Matsuri was going to know that they were being tracked or followed. Again, I'm thinking Hunter x Hunter when Killua was spotted tracking the Phantom Troop. But I think it was Finks.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Finks? Who was it?
Well, Finks, no,
Not Finks. But
Nobunaga and Machi were the ones they were following. Well, it depends on what scene you're referring to, but do you talk about when him and Gon get caught? Or when
yeah, and
Killua
then when I
alone
think
is...
Killua was like jumping around the room trying to find a way to get away, but the dude's too fast.
Yeah. Well, that's when, that then, like, Finks and, what's
Okay,
her name?
okay.
Big Nose
Right,
Girl,
you're right, you're right.
Boob
Yeah.
Girl, freaking, her name's slipping my mind. The gun shooter girl, Pakunoda. Then Finks and Pakunoda showed up, but they're following Nobunaga and Machi.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Anyway,
Anyways, it's definitely similar to that. Also, they do things like this in Dragon Ball as well. But I thought this was going to be a freaking hyped, cool, serious thing to where it's like Matsuri caught on to them. She knows that they're there because of her sensory abilities. It's not if, but when she finds us. And it's like, okay, we're going to like secretly stalk these Shinju for our mission, etc., etc. And we're going to take them down in secret, silent, ninja, stealthily tactics. But oh, Matsuri's onto us, but we don't know that yet. And oh, but the audience does. Oh, they're setting that up as a very tense situation. Or the fact that Matsuri found out, so then Matsuri could go do something here, or at any time, making the first move. And then we just get Konohamaru just walking over the cliff, bro. It's bro. It's like, that just ruined anything that I thought they were going with there. I don't know if that's like an intentional subversion of expectations or if that's just how it played out. Were you getting the same vibes as me there? I'm like, these Shinju are dangerous. Oh, they caught on. This is why I thought Moegi was the most dangerous in the first place.
Yeah, the thing is, it's like, never mind Ikimoto's perspective. Yodo knows the plan. She knows that they're planning to walk up and expose them. But why are you saying it's not a matter of if, but when they find...
Yeah.
Konohamaru already explained the plan before you said... What do you mean? What do you mean it's a matter... You're not... It's not a matter of her figuring it out at all. You're just gonna walk up to her. You're gonna expose yourself. You're like... Why are you saying that?
This is downplaying Matsuri, the sensory tree-hearing Shinju, which is so cool and mysterious and dangerous based on this power, because, oh, she's just actually not that observant after all. She just couldn't see her target until it walked up to her. Bro.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it makes it look worse, because especially since you just hyped it up.
And especially since there's like 10 of them over there, not literally, but like, how many are there on this mission? 6? 7? 6?
5.
Okay. There's still 5 Shinobi group clustered together right around that sand mound over there, and she's just none the wiser. Like, bro.
Yeah. Like, why did the trees tell her? They're just ignoring. They're like, don't worry about him.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Oh my god.
Should we also discuss the elephant in the room here?
Depends which elephant, but yes.
Well, I'll present
Multiple
the elephant. So,
a herd of elephants.
Yeah, so you remember chapter 15, right?
I mean, I do.
You know how it's just like the entire code exchange, like, the whole point was code was gonna look for them?
Uh-huh.
Why are Matsuri and Ryu looking for him? Like I don't understand. Like, I understand, like, Jorah could be like, oh, you can help us too, but it's like, well, we're also gonna look, but like, if you get it first, no, it's just like, hey, go for it. Like, if you do it, then you get the chuck. I don't know, it just feels weird that, like, for him to, like, all right, code, I'm gonna let you do this. You know, you could use this mission. If you succeed, we'll give you your fruit. And then to just be like, then he leaves and like, hey, Matsuri, can you, like, also look? Because, like, I don't trust him. Like, I know, it's so weird.
Yeah. Just to reiterate, just to tell you how bad this is. Code says, you don't need to tell me twice. I'll do it. I'll kill both Boruto and his comrades. It's a deal. And then Jura says, I'm pulling for you. Good luck. I eagerly look forward to seeing where your destiny leads. You know, Jura, the leader who gave him this mission, he's eagerly looking forwards to it. You know, the curiosity of the Shinju, wanting to see where Code's destiny leads. They're rooting for Code, wishing him luck. The leader, Jura, elder, who they respect and follow the orders of and all that.
Like, hypothetically, let's just say Matsuri finds Boruto and the accomplice. What is Jura going to be like? Oh, well, all right, Code, let's come up with a new mission for you. Like, I don't know, like, or are they going to be like, okay, Code, I found him, go kill him? Wasn't the point for him to find them too?
I mean,
I don't know,
obviously, if they found him, then they're just gonna kill him himself, or themselves, I should say. Even let Jura know, so Jura can go do it. But it's not about that. It's the fact that they're looking for him at all, regardless of if they find him.
Well, I think summoning Jura just makes it worse, because then we're going to come back to chapter 13. Chapter 13 again.
Yeah, I know.
Which I still have problems with.
Yeah.
Because, like, because even, no, actually, no, it's jumping ahead. I kind of like jump ahead because we're talking. Okay, so Koji's going on and on, but like, Boruto, if you show up, Jura will be alerted and he'll show up and kill you. It's like, never mind the fact that I think that personally, unless like Matsuri is just gonna teleport to Jura and be like, hey Jura, Boruto showed up, and teleport back. Jura's just not gonna know. He's busy reading books in the bookstore. But ignoring that, like, if Jura's that hell-bent on killing Boruto, I just don't understand why he didn't just do it in chapter 13. Like, it just makes chapter 13 worse, because it works somewhat okay if we're gonna ignore the plot nonsense. We're just gonna go with the narrative outside and say Jura doesn't actually want to kill Boruto. Long story short, that's fine. But then you can't have Koji seeing in every single one of his futures, guaranteed he's just gonna kill you, and having Jura talking about how he wants to kill Boruto in other scenes. Because just come back, Hidari wasn't running, wasn't on his mind when he was killing Boruto. And for hell's sake, let's just say Hidari was gonna run. Clearly, they're hyping it up as Boruto as being a bigger threat than worrying about freaking Hidari. Like, you know, it's just, like, he would be willing to make the sacrifice. Like,
You know,
based off the way they're acting.
There's also a reason that I was thinking about chapter 1 with Code earlier. The Shinju are in the exact same position. Kamui, let me ask you. Why did Code invade the village in Two Blue Vortex chapter 1?
Yes, dude. Yeah, you're right. How stupid are they?
Yeah. Not only does Code want to destroy the village, he wants to draw Boruto out, and it worked. The Shinju not only want to go after their target, they already know Boruto doesn't want the targets to be devoured because he loves the targets, and also doesn't want the Shinju to gain whatever they're going to gain. By going after their one and only goal anyways, they're going to get what they want regardless.
Yeah, and like, you can't even use the argument of, well, they just haven't come up with the idea like Code, because they don't need to come up with the idea, because they just found out by chance in their last encounter. Like, they have the precedent. Like, it does happen.
If you want to say Jura is different or special or unique or whatever in his own way, just because he is Jura, or his personality just coincidentally is different from the others as well, maybe, or whatever you want to say, where he's the one reading books. None of the others are doing that. Hidari was literally just sitting there patiently waiting for Jura to finish multiple books before invading. There's no reason for the other Shinju not to go after their targets. Ryu is next to Gaara right now, and he's assisting Matsuri. This isn't like Hidari assisting the leader, Jura. They're co-workers right now, randomly looking for Boruto instead of going after their target. Well, in fact, Matsuri's target just stumbled up to her, and she's still going after Boruto.
Well, even if you want to ignore them, okay, so Matsuri weirdly has the mission to find Boruto, right? And Ryu's just assigned to help her, whatever. Mamushi hasn't been assigned anything. Like Koji said, he's
as
just
stated in this chapter, he's just hanging out at the base.
Like, he's just not doing anything.
If
in any of the
anything-
arcs. He's just been hanging.
If
And
anything,
the only thing he's
they
done
should do what we said
is look
that
at
they
Ada
should
when
have
she
done.
spies on them.
Yeah, they should have done with Mamushi what they should have done with Code, or what we said they did with Code, or whatever. To where Jura says, Mamushi, stay here just in case you need to guard the Tin Tails. Or whatever
Yeah,
else, the Gachi,
or-
whatever else it is.
As an alternative. That's one option. That's the easiest option.
Mhm.
The other option, just address this. Just have Mamushi understand that Damon is stronger than him and that he can't win, so he's biding his
Yeah.
time until he gets an opportunity.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And he could be planning, be like, hey, Jura, I'll need you to go with me to deal with Damon. Or he could just be devising a strategy, like he's just waiting for when they're separated. That's fine. Just say it.
I also saw
Because
Naruto explain.
It's not ruining the moment, because it's just like, we would expect this anyway to be a thing. Like the moment they ever get separated and Mamushi shows up, it's not going to be like a shocking surprise, because that just makes sense anyway. And conversely, we would be hyped because the moment they do get separated, we're like, OMG, like he's gonna finally show up. It's only gonna build your anticipation for it.
I was watching a Naruto explain video. It's a couple months old. It was when Mamushi's name was first revealed, actually. And to be fair, this is like the
Mhm.
biggest reach in the world. But he was saying that the reason they did this is actually genius. Because what are bugs known to do? Oh, well, they scurry away when they're in the light or whatever. Well, just like Bug did. But what are insects known for doing? Oh, well, they bide their time. It's like the exact opposite of a bug. It's just like, bro, I don't think that's what they were going for there, but this is funny. The distinction he was making. It was based on
Well-
like the snake Japanese thing that it's based on, but still.
Yeah, but I mean,
First of all, Bug's
Even
name wasn't
then,
in
it's
reference
just kind
to
of
bugs,
like-
it was in reference to computers.
yeah, exactly, that's one thing. But regardless of that, just ignoring that for a moment,
Yeah.
you get into an issue of, okay, but you have one option. Do you either have Mamushi show up and then say, I've been biding my time until Damon was separated from you, whatever. You can either do it reactively or proactively. You either do it long before he shows up, or you do it after the fact. The question is, what would be better? Would it be better to have planted the seed, or to wait so that it's quote unquote more of a surprise?
It depends if they want Mamushi eventually to come across as smart, similar to Victor, or more like a barbarian who's just there for fun, wild shenanigans, idiot, aloof, just like Jugo. In his crazed form, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And they could go either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, though, wouldn't that? Well, in my case, he's biding his time regardless. It's just whether or not they tell us in advance or after the fact. So would he be equally as smart in that case? It's just a matter of how the story presents it.
Just because you do something smart doesn't make you smart. If he's not doing it to bide his time because of Damon, he's just doing it for whatever other reason, then no, I'm not going to say he's smart because of that.
But that's not the question I'm asking, though. In my case, the options are either he says in, let's just say next chapter, because they haven't done it yet, or let's just say they did it earlier. He says in an earlier chapter that he'll be biding his time until Damon, whatever the context of the conversation. He just says he's going to do that. And then eventually he shows up when they're separated. That's option one. Option two, they continue not to address it like they have been until the moment he shows up, where he then says, I've been biding my time until David was away from you, blah, blah, blah. The point is, the option is he says his plan long before he shows up, or he shows up and says his plan immediately afterward.
Well, okay.
That makes sense.
I think the confusion is you started that off by saying either way he's biding his time, and I thought you were referencing the hypothetical to where he's biding his time specifically because of Damon versus he's just doing it anyways. When now it seems like you were saying
The question is about the order
the
of him
smart or
saying,
dumbness.
like, I've been waiting. Yeah, that's not what I was referring to. I
Okay,
was
so
just referring
it
to the
was
idea,
rooted
like,
within. We're going with the hypothetical just being the case to where he is doing that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Then
In which case, which way would you prefer it?
can you present the two options again? Now that I'm fully aware of the
So,
context.
in some earlier chapter, it doesn't really specifically matter when. The point is before he shows up. So let's just say hypothetically, in this arc, like last chapter or something, they had Mamushi say, or next chapter they say like, oh, I'm biding my time until Damon is away from Ada because I can't beat Damon. Whatever. The point is he says it. He alludes to that. Then let's just say 30 chapters later, he finally shows up. The point is he says it before showing up. Option one. Option two, regardless of when it happens, he shows up when they're separated, and then he says, like, I've been waiting for this moment when you and Damon were separated. The point is, he either says it before showing up, or he says it right after showing up. That's the two options.
I mean, that's an interesting idea. We can come back to that before I give my answer. I will say I'd prefer for him just to have shown up earlier. In fact, I think the best way is just to have him show up during the previous Konoha invasion, whether Mitsuki fights him or Kwaki fights him, or if you want Damon to fight him, I guess. But either way, obviously, he's just not going to get to Ada, and then he's going to retreat and then realize that he can't because of Damon. So then later he's going to be biding his time, which leads into that. But I wanted to add in, I want him to show up as early as possible in terms of this invasion, because I think it'd be similar to, spoilers for Attack on Titan, it'd be similar to Attack on Titan Season 3, Part 2, The Return to Shiganshina, because there's 4 enemies in that arc. And it's not the Jaw Titan. There's the Beast Titan, there's the Colossal Titan, there's the Armored Titan, which is 3, and then there's the Armored Titan again. Reiner showing up for the second time would give the same vibes as Mamushi showing up in that arc. It would have been so cool. It's like, oh, he's back. Oh, God, he's better. He's as strong as he was before. Oh, we've done 0 progress. Oh, this is the worst possible time for him to show up, too. Oh, we're dealing with so much else right now. Freaking Bug Mamushi showing up in that way would have been so good.
Yeah. But it's not.
But anyways, with that idea, going into your hypothetical, I guess I'd rather for after rather than before, so we can say it directly to whoever he's talking to, rather than like the random Shinju or himself, I guess. Because at this point, it's like he's rubbing it in. Also, after the fact when he's already there, rather than before the fact. So they're telling us before showing us, rather than just showing us. Because telling us at that point is just showing us.
Well, what if they do it before and after as a third option?
Redundant. I think just
So he
it would sort of ruin the
alludes
moment.
to a plan. Or okay.
Alluding to the plan would be fine if they did it completely different. But at that point, I think it would just be right after he's beat up in the Konoha Shinju invasion anyways. Considering I'm assuming that he would say this and show up later in the timeline, not like now.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. In that case, I'd rather him allude to the plan like right after the Shinju invasion arc, or even during the Shinju invasion arc after he's defeated and forced to retreat.
But what about in the hypothetical where he's never defeated, forced to retreat, like as is?
So in this case, it'd be like Urashiki in the anime after episode like 65, to where he never really was like, well, technically he was defeated in the anime, but like in the arc, he was never like overall defeated. At the end of the arc, he's like, ha ha ha, I'll be back, or whatever. And he's like very ominous, mysterious, alluding
he just
to power.
Started using more of his power and was like, oh, I guess I have to use my Renegon, but I'm just fine. I've done my job, and now I will laugh and run away.
Yeah. So in this case, it'd be more like Urashiki. as opposed to someone who it wouldn't be like. In this case, it would not be like Hunter x Hunter, the Antarch. It would not be like Rammet when Killua defeats him and then he comes back later.
Yeah.
As good as that scene was, I'll be honest, bro. Like if Mamushi's in a similar sorry dying bird state as that'd be freaking cool to see. Then again, after seeing Hidari seemingly look like he's hurt from Chidori's stream, and then just casually chilling as he's bisected from Uzuhiko, I don't understand what the pain tolerance is of these Shinju. I don't know if he would be looking like he's in pain or not, but I don't know.
Yeah, does the Uzuhiko just hurt less than Shibori's stream?
That's why I think it's not like a pain thing. I think it was just surprised, if anything, despite the guh noise or whatever it was. I don't know. Maybe it hit him right in the chakra.
Yeah.
Anyways, being mindful of the time, it's about to be 12.
Yeah. Honestly, I have to some more, and I'm trying to figure that out. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that we can go for another hour because I'm gonna be up figuring that out anyway. So
That's
we
fine.
can keep going for another hour.
Okay. Let's check out chat real quick. Did I shut down? Oh. Not enough memory to continue the chat, I guess. Let me refresh. Okay, there we go. I like Konohamaru walking up instead of fighting first, and no, so I'm not saying I don't like it. I don't dislike it, is what I should say. It just didn't feel like they were going in that direction, and I liked the direction that it felt like they were going in that they didn't go in. So I don't like that they didn't go in the direction that I was already liking, as opposed to going in a different direction that I like for different reasons. And even the new direction that they did go in, doesn't work with the direction that they were setting up, unless you want to say the jarringness was the point.
Yeah. It's still weird, I think.
It just set up expectations in a way that doesn't make them like, oh, they subverted it. It just makes the expectations false altogether. So I think, if anything, they did it wrong. Expectations were negatively subverted. Ash, I love the way you worded that. That's hilarious. It's a negative subversion of expectations. That's perfect. Guys, or good day. Reckon you guys can get Xander Mobus on the podcast. I can look him up. Voice of Momoshiki. Wonder if he knows anything we don't about Otsutsuki. I will copy and paste this into pinned messages. In fact, just the whole comment. And then I will contact him either after the stream or tomorrow. And I contacted like a butt ton of voice actors yesterday. Or the other day. Whatever day it was. Of which none of them have responded yet, but I'm still hopeful because I contacted a decent amount of them. Or at least a handful. But anyway.
I can't decide if I want to do chicken and rice or yogurt, bro. This is killing me. Very vastly different options here.
Well, none of the voice actors I'm thinking of, anyways. One of them may have responded, but we'll get to that another time. May or may not be something I was alluding to earlier, Kamui, but you'll see. Anyway.
Oh, so I think I'm right. Okay.
Well, no, I'm not saying you are, because I think you're on the wrong track of whatever you are directly, specifically thinking. But you're on a generally vague, probably right track. But I'm not going to spoil anything. That's the closest you're going to get.
Anyway. What was the combo we were saying? It was Rock Lee and someone else's voice actor we were discussing. Oh, Rock Lee and Obito. That's one option. They both said yes to the combo. It could be Dennis. Right, I don't know who else you've asked lately.
Well, you'll find out in time.
How long do I have to wait till I find out?
Depends. Yeah, it depends. Not long though. I'll say that.
On well, before or after January?
It depends. It might be before or up. Oh well, no, it's definitely not gonna be after January. It's gonna be January. I'm pretty sure. You're not gonna have to wait long.
Okay, I bet
You won't have to wait long.
before or after just January 1st. Is it gonna be like in January
Okay,
or
it
December?
depends. It depends. Because like holiday season
Okay.
shenanigans can obviously change things, so I don't know. We'll figure that out.
Okay. By the way, I don't know if I want to do chicken and rice or yogurt, bro.
So okay, one more thing I'll say on it, of the super secret surprise, is that simultaneously, don't get your expectations up because I have a feeling you're gonna be like overly hyped and then be let down by the reveal. And at the same time, you're going to love the reveal more than you could ever expect.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay, well, that being said, most English VAs barely have. Okay, that means Shuyuka, but as true as it may be, some of them have a good comprehension of their series. Though, freaking check out the 4 interviews we have on this podcast channel. Well, this channel and the playlists. There you go. I like how. Okay, yeah. That's all the comments. We're caught up. He said the fights were so good it made him sad about the manga. Ikimoto, yeah, okay. That's hilarious. About the anime. Wouldn't Juro be able to do that too? Yeah, exactly. Okay. Only 4. We have only done 4. Yeah, I know, isn't it crazy? I've contacted more than 4. And there's more planned. But we've only done 4 so far. According to Instagram, Xander's is friends with Kawaki's voice actor. Can't remember his name. Hello. Michael's the Schwabmeister. It's the Schwabmeister.
Yeah.
Xander has done so many voices in nearly every anime/video game. Well, I'm hyped. oh, I wonder if... Okay. Kamui, this is going to be so fun if he doesn't read the manga. If we can get Momoshiki's voice actor to give his predictions on Momoshiki's prophecy, wouldn't that be hype? That'd be freaking awesome, bro. In fact, I think that becomes so much headcanon that just to a degree is the alternative canon.
Yeah, one of it's way better than the actual prophecy.
Exactly. Like, I'm willing to let him be a writer in my head. I love the nefarious, evil nature of his voice, too, when he's given the prophecy. It's so good. Momoshiki's voice actor does a great job. But we'll see.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So,
okay, I need you to help
are
me
you
out.
over there?
Chicken or rice or yogurt? Just answer the question.
I'm
not that hungry.
go for chicken and rice.
Okay.
I don't know about you
Okay.
personally. I feel like both fill me up more than I like. Maybe I just don't realize the
Yeah.
portion size I eat, but I feel like I just eat normal amount compared to other food, and it just like, whoa, I'm more than stuffed. I'm like overly stuffed. Like, oh, I don't even want to move.
Well,
Probably less with chicken and rice,
Either
since I
way,
feel like
I'm
that's a little bit more lean. But yeah.
I mean, either way, I'm probably gonna be full. It's just a matter of which one I want to go first.
Definitely a
I mean,
staple.
granted, the yogurt one I can make less filling because I'm just gonna drink some juice with it in that case, which it is not gonna do with the chicken and rice case because of like, yeah, I just want there to be some rice. Like, the chances are the yogurt will be less filling, which is probably what I should do, but like, oh, I just can't decide.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, so back to the chapter. So there's several elephants in many rooms to address. We're going to address one of the elephants in one of the rooms again. Konohamaru says, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" And then proceeds to be like, "Oh, you're after Boruto, eh?" Before they can answer. That's first of all funny. It's ridiculous. The fact that worked and that tricked them, but whatever. If anything, it's a good thing since that's the vibe they're going for anyways. They want them to seem as innocent and aloof as possible, but still. Who Are You is hilarious. This whole chapter, obviously the bookstore guy is like intentionally, purposefully treating Jura like the #1 customer, as if he's like a normal human or whatever. But like, who are you? Yeah, sure, Sakura, it's a meme that she just couldn't recognize Hidari. Can no one just tell that a Clawgrime Shinju person looks different from a normal human? Like, is Konohamaru actually, like, putting on an act here? Or, like, if he wasn't told, would he still be
No.
I know it's an act, but, like, if he wasn't told that these Shinju are Shinju,
okay,
would he be like, oh, hey guys, what's up, fellow human beings? Like, can you just not tell?
That's the problem, which we don't know for sure because they were told in advance.
Yeah.
I mean, at every point, just like, even the Santine, like, they just know who they are. Like, they know which is which. There's no confusion. Which, I mean, to be fair, I know this isn't exactly the craziest indication, but, like, at the very least, they can tell which is the male and female of the group. So they're not just completely, like, indistinguishable aliens. Like, they know this one's a girl, that's Matsuri, and that one's a guy, that's Ryu, at the very least. But Konohamaru was the one to know, like, hey, what's your connection to Sasuke? So, like, I feel like he can tell, but I don't know. Sarada obviously can't, God forbid, but
yeah. That's just hilarious just to think about the fact they can't tell. When they know Code's claw marks at the very least. Then also the fact that they all have Rinnegan, of which is very noticeable in universe looking at Shippuden and Boruto as a series.
Yeah.
It's like
casual. I definitely at the very least think that like Konohamaru though would have been like, okay, this is just like Hidari. That's another one of these types of people. Beyond that, you can't say for sure. I like to think they all can tell except for Sarada, and Sarada's the only one that makes no sense. Versus a complete 50-50 split of making sense and not. But
beyond that,
I don't actually know for sure.
It would be expected. Okay, so for the sake of this, I'm going from the Shinju's perspective. Konohamaru isn't in on a mission, he just doesn't know. So, with that being said, if Konohamaru can tell the difference, if it should be able to have the difference be noticeable, from the Shinju's perspective, it's extremely weird that Konohamaru can't tell the difference and is treating us as if we are human or look human, or are just some stranger, or just someone who doesn't know, just the vibe, just in general, regardless of having met Hidari or not.
I don't know if the Shinju would see themselves as necessarily like alien looking or not. They might not think that they're all that weird. I don't know.
I would assume they would. Or maybe not they themselves thinking they look weird, but just obviously different from humans in a way to where the other humans would notice that they look different. Like, I don't think the Shinju are gonna, like, walk into a place and pretend like they're blending in with anyone else. So they're just some stranger in the crowd.
I mean, it does seem like they kind of did that. Like when they walk into the village, they're not questioning the fact that nobody's calling him an alien. They're just acting like people. Like,
I think that's different. They were just chilling anyways. They had like a directive motive goal anyways. I think it's different.
Well, then there lies the problem. But they even think about it because of that same reason. Like, I don't think it would ever come up as a conversation.
Well, okay, in comparison, I think Ishiki did the same thing, but others clearly obviously noted Ishiki looks like a not human person.
Yeah, but again, like, it's just not going to come up in conversation, I don't think. Like, I don't think Ishiki would be like, why aren't you treating me like an alien? Like,
well, in Ishiki's case, they were treating him like an alien. And this would be assuming that Ishiki wasn't there for a directive motive purpose, such as finding Kwaki. He was just there to eat Ichiraku ramen or something. So if Jura's just going to the village to eat a Thunder Burger, and no one can tell it's Jura, essentially, that should be strange from Jura's perspective, assuming he doesn't know the fact that it's intentional.
Honestly, I don't think Juro would question it. I think he'd just be like, these Konoha Shinobi are so amusing. Like, I don't think he would like question it. He would just like
Jura might be the
he'd
bad
either think
example
it's funny,
because
or
in
he would just
Jura's
think it's funny.
character, you could say that's the case. At the very least, for Matsuri or Ryu, I think it'd be at least slightly weird, out of place for those characters.
I don't know, because we haven't gotten anything to indicate they would act that way. We just don't know.
Okay, sure. I will say Hidari would be the last one to notice. Hidari probably does think he looks like a human.
It's a ridiculous looking feed.
But aside from that, a secondary aspect of this, which is less defendable in my opinion, the fact that Konohamaru, regardless of their physical appearance, isn't questioning them really at all in general is weird. He's like,
What do you
you
mean?
two over there, who are you? What are you doing here? And then he just drops it. It's like, oh yeah, you have the Boruto too? Okay, cool, great. It's like, oh, he's almost treating them as if they're sand shinobi, in a way. Like, that would just come across as sus to me. Because, like, again, if these are Konoha shinobi who they know have met Jura / Hidari, then they should know that these people at least were probably related to Jura / Hidari, who fought inside the village. Yeah, Jura's like, oh yeah, they're cool people, but like I'm pretty sure Jura probably told him that like, hey, they fought me and they're like enemies and they prevented us from eating our target. Oh, they killed Hidari, by the way. They would all know that. They saw Hidari be resurrected. So they know, the Konoha Shinobi know what Shinju are, at the very least in some regard. And so they're just casually coming up to him here. It's just a little bit weird in that regard. Like, why would they not fight them here when they fought them previously? When, like, how would they know here compared to previously that they're after Boruto? Like, I feel like that's weird knowledge for them to gain / change their attitude on from the Shinju's perspective. Right?
Yeah, well, I guess Jorah's just pulling up a lot of respect for them. He's like, yo, dude, these guys are like the shit, bro. Like, you gotta respect them.
Doesn't make sense, bro. It's not even Konoha Shinobi in general. It was just Team 10 for the specific regards of the one aspect he respected Team 10. He still killed Inojin. It's like, he's not hyping up all Konoha Shinobi for no reason. He came to the village and immediately killed 12 of them. No.
Yeah, dude, he has so much respect for them.
But, like, I don't know if Jura told Ryu or Matsuri about the fact that Konohamaru was questioning the ties to Sasuke or anything. But assuming he did, then it's definitely weird. Assuming he didn't, it might be weird, assuming they would have an idea of that anyways. For Konohamaru to not question the Shinju, assuming he knows they are Shinju / look different. Like, he's just not questioning them on who they are or their ties to Sasuke or Jura or anything. Or the Ten Tails, or the fact they have Rinnegan, or anything. Again,
Which is why I think Konohamaru just would know anyway. I don't think Konohamaru, like...
Again, this is from the Shinju's perspective, not from Konohamaru's perspective of if he doesn't know. This is assuming the Shinju think, as they do, that he doesn't know. It's weird how Konohamaru's acting.
So here's the thing. I'm curious what you think. It's more of a hunch than anything else, I'll admit, but it's there, and I'll explain why. Personally, I think Ryu does think it's suspicious. I think Matsuri's distracted by her romantic feelings, and that's she might figure it out anyway. But right now, like if she doesn't, it's because of the romance stuff. But I think Ryu is onto them. I don't think I think it's. I mean, it might be true that Jura was gassing him up and all that, but I don't think he's actually completely oblivious, going to drop his guard completely and just get back. So I don't think it's going to.
I didn't get the vibe from this chapter. I think Ryu's a serious character, which can make him generally come across as like a suspicious type of nature, just passively. But I don't think Ryu is suspicious of them later on, at least. I think he just trusts them for some reason to an extent. Not like trust them, so. But like not distrusting them. Like I don't think he's suspicious of them later on.
I think he's gonna be ready, like the moment they betray him.
I completely agree.
There's a couple of reasons. Okay.
I think that's his character.
First of all, there's a couple of things to point to. So the first is like when he's talking in the chapter, how he looks very serious when he's like, when I first came here, I was intending to slaughter Konoha Shinobi, and he's saying it with a very serious expression. Like he doesn't look like he's just joking around, like he's.
Well, that's not exactly what he's saying. I think the meaning of what he's saying there, and we can skip to that really quick. I think he's saying that like, oh yeah, before I met you guys, I was just intending to kill any shinobi I came across.
I know, that's what he says, but he looks very serious when he says it. He doesn't look like aloof, like, oh, silly me. It's like his expression is very serious there, even though his words have that like nonchalant accent dialogue there. He just looks serious while he's saying it. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
The second thing is, well, remember how he acted when Code showed up? He was like, he wasn't just aloof and stuff. Like, it's not how he acts, which makes me feel like he's putting up an act, because his behavior with Code was nowhere near like this, and there's no reason because even after Jura was gassing up Code and like, oh, he's a great guy and all that jazz, Ryu's still like, if he comes back, can I kill him? Like, he's just.
Oh, exactly. I think like, I know what you're trying to get at there. I agree, but I think there's also another way to look at that. Not that it debunks yours, but that it's just like the opposite of yours, and maybe at the same time. To where he's looking to Jura for guidance, first of all, which I think that's just his thing anyways. But also that he's extremely accepting of a lot of things. Because Jura's just like, oh yeah, don't kill him. And he's like, yeah, okay. And here, he's like, yeah, I was gonna kill you guys, but I'm not going to now. Yeah, I'm glad we spoke first. Like, I think he's genuinely saying, yeah, I'm glad we spoke first. Not that he's like seriously like, ooh, I'm glad we spoke first. It's not what you're going for, but I
know, but like, I get what you're trying to say. The only thing is, why does he look so serious in that panel?
I mean, it could just be that's just how he looks in general. I don't know, resting bitch face, if you want to call it that.
It's not, though, because in other panels he doesn't look so sinister, serious. I feel
in a lot of panels he does when he doesn't need to. In the other panels you're referencing, I think is like when he's reacting to information that he wasn't expecting. Like the For Reals panel. Like, yeah, I'm not expecting to look sinister there. Yeah. Surprise. Was there like
but even like in the previous page when so 1 second, let me go do something real quick. Actually, I'll just direct you to the page numbers.
Full of respect for you. Oh, he's our boss man.
So yeah. So that page and the next page are the important ones. So on the page when he says like, Jura's our boss man, I don't think he looks particularly overly serious. He just looks normal. But then the next one with the slaughtering, I feel like just looks more serious. Like,
so I know you're not gonna like this, which is why I'm starting. Oh, it sounds awful. Which is why I'm starting with it. But God, that sounds awful. It's because it's the least likely option. I should say it like that. Sounds awful. So
I like the other way.
So the top panel is a little bit more zoomed out, whereas the panel you're talking about is a little bit closer up, which is why it has those extra lines.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
more detailed because
Which
it's
is an
closer.
argument you could make.
Yeah.
I was gonna point that out as an argument too.
Okay. I will say it's also like different camera angle. Generally, it is like the same expression. Like, yes, there's more lines or whatever, but like based on the mouth, he's
Well,
like
even that,
in
but
the
even
mouth
okay, but
pose.
even then, my question would be, as an artist, why did he do that?
Do what in particular?
Choose this different angle / zoom in to where you notice all these more angry looking serious marks for this dialogue.
I mean, you could say why he did that, but he had to do something, and I don't think he would want to repeat himself necessarily. And I don't think this specific dialogue is why he chose this specific panel for this in particular. Like, I think it's putting too much stock into that aspect of it, whereas I don't think that's necessarily there, at least.
That's fine, but like, assuming it is, I mean, I don't know. It could just be random Ikimoto drawing nonsense like everything else, you know? I'm not gonna act like it can't be that.
Okay, yeah. Because
But anyway,
again, on the previous
the
page,
other thing was really just
the mouth is in the same position and the eyes are in the same position, with the like looking up the pupil at the very top of the eyelid to where it's like almost annoyed. But you could also say the difference
don't
is
think he
that
looks it.
if this is how he normally looks, well, here he's talking about Jura, basically his dad. It's like, oh, he's our boss man. Like, yeah, I can imagine he's like a little bit happier there, at least in comparison. And even there, he looks annoyed.
I don't think he looks annoyed there personally, but
Look at his eyes. Like, ignore the other eyes of the Rinnegan. His pupils are at the very top.
But he's looking up, like they're walking up a hill.
His head's like pointed down.
His head's not pointed down. It's straight forward. His body's
Well,
you can say
exactly.
relative to his body.
Compared to
but,
the
like,
hill, it's
his
pointed
body's
down.
up, his
The
head's
hill
forward.
that's pointed up, his head's
I mean,
pointed
it's-
straight ahead. His head's pointed down compared to the
It's
hill,
weird regardless.
which is why he's
but-
looking up. But it makes him look annoyed.
Yeah.
Here, I'll make a comparison.
I don't know. Compared to some other ones where he looks annoyed with code, it's not like as annoyed.
Just as an example, it's like this. Similar to this.
I don't think that's his expression, but it's hard with the Rinnegan, I'll admit.
I mean, even this one. That's a little, no, it's not the same. But here, I'll even do this. So we can actually see without the text bubbles or whatever. Let's go into paint. Let's crop it. Okay. We're just gonna white out the other lines. It's gonna take a minute, but that's okay.
But what if he's annoyed because he's just lying? He's just like, yeah, Elder Jura has so much respect for you. It's actually just capping. Like,
Well,
he's
from
just
what we've
annoyed.
seen,
But
it
he's
doesn't
Konoha
seem to be
Shinobi.
cap. I think Jura would just say that anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can't really see the people in this one, but like, it's like here. Right there. Oh my god, okay, you can't read that. I'm gonna have to draw people with that. Generally,
Bro,
that's
but
where
then you're
people
just
is.
making.
Yeah. Well, even here,
That's
like,
why I
the
said this
people's
doesn't work.
clearly here. So,
No, it's not. You just drew it.
what do you mean? The pupil is here. This is the circle. It would be in the middle. That's right here. Yes, I'm making it
Go
more
back to the
big
original.
so that it's actually noticeable.
Go back to the original.
Sure, give me a second. Because otherwise you can't see it at all. It's ridiculous. So what about the original?
You even draw the pupil. It looks like he just has a center circle that's white. Not gonna lie. So it actually looks.
Well,
he just doesn't have people.
The problem is his pupil is so high up, it's ridiculous. Where you just can't see it because it's covered by his eyelid.
He's looking in the back of his head.
He's like Aaron fighting
Is he
Annie from
Hidari?
Attack on Titan.
He's stupid.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking it's like Hidari. He's just stupid. He's just like looking in the back of his head. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Looks pretty annoyed to me. Nuts.
It just looks goofy. I don't know.
Oh my god. Here, we will save this.
Anyway, I mean, you agree. I don't think his guard's going to be lower. Like, he's going to be ready for it. And I don't think he's going to be overly surprised either, personally. I mean, maybe he will be really surprised, but ready. But
I mean, I think he'll say something to indicate surprise, but I don't think his body language is going to be surprise, necessarily.
maybe. But then if that's the case, do you think he's actually surprised, or is he just pretending to be surprised? Like,
I mean, I don't think he's not expecting it. He just wouldn't be surprised.
well, yeah, I'm not saying he's expecting it. I'm saying that he's ready for it.
Yeah.
So, you just agree.
There's more nuance to it than that, which is why it would be a disagreement, if anything, but sure.
Well, no, because I'm not saying that he's expecting it. I'm only saying I think he's ready for it.
Okay. Sure.
So we agree.
Whatever.
Moving on.
Anyways. So, yeah, okay.
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess before...
I'm looking. You can show me
before-
Arai's beard now.
Wait, what?
No, his beard's just like Shikamaru's.
Come on, it's more than Shikamaru's. Plus, keep in mind, he's like younger
Maybe a
and has
little
a
bit
smaller head, and half his face is covered.
No, real quick. I have to say, assuming this is Arai's puppet, it doesn't look
I was thinking
puppet-y
that
at
too.
all. Like, it looks a little too human.
I was thinking that.
Like, but hypothetically, it's not Arai's puppet. How is he seeing? He's not Gojo.
I mean,
He's
it's
just
funny
blind.
and weird to imagine Konkoro just is his puppet for most of the time that we're seeing him on screen. But, like, going into the prelims,
Yeah.
at what point did he switch out with the puppet?
Well, it's possible ever since the first exam. Just when he was
Yeah.
doing the crow thing and he's like, oh, there's all the proctors, blah blah blah. He could have done it then and just stayed there ever since. That's possible.
Which means we just didn't see him at all in the Forest of Death.
Yeah, exactly. That's just the crow touch.
But again, that's funny and
It's hard to
weird
ignore.
because that means Konkoro's moving the puppet's facial expressions to look scared of Gaara. Like, it's just weird. So, I don't know.
Who's putting? Well, to be fair, Konkoro had Gaara and Tamari fooled and Baki. None of them knew he was in the puppet body. They thought he just genuinely died there.
Yeah.
To Mizumi. So,
Sure.
you know, they say, like, if you want to fool your enemies, you got to fool your allies first, or whatever. That's what Konkoro was doing.
Bro, I was thinking about this the other day. You're gonna disagree. That's fine. I'm not saying this is the case. Konkoro may low-key just be really fast. At least comparatively to the other characters at this point in the series. Like, he might be faster than Kiba. He might, I hate to say it, he might be faster than Base Weights Lee.
Based on what
The fact that
in
he's
particular are you looking at?
bare minimum tuning level at this point of the series, arguably Jonin level.
Well, he could be just not through speed, though, hypothetically. But I agree, he is like, I mean, he literally gets Actually, out of curiosity, okay, I think it's well. Okay, there's really three options in the Sasuke retrieval arc. Because just to clarify, just because Shikamaru is the only Leaf Genin to be promoted to Chunin has no bearing. It's not like Hiruzen decides whether the Sand Jonin get promoted. That's just up to the Kazekage who was dead.
Mhm.
So just keep that in mind. Hiruzen doesn't choose who from the Sand Village gets promoted to Chunin. With that in mind, in the Sasuke retrieval arc, do you think Kankuro, Gaara, and Tamari were A, still Genin, B, Chunin, or C, already Jonin? There's arguments for all of them, but
There
what do you
are.
think? Like, just what do you think their rank was? Not their general, whether or not they were Jonin level, like Gaara's Kage level, but like the point is, what do you think his official rank was?
First of all, to even have this conversation, we have to mention the fact that Gaara was not Kage yet.
Yeah. He can be Kage level, but he's not the Kazekage yet.
In which case, who sent him on this mission?
It's Tsunade.
Oh god.
If not Tsunade, then she contacted Baki.
Exactly, yeah. He would have had to. It's hilarious. Kind of weird Baki didn't go on this mission. I don't know. Maybe that's like, did he need to stay back to defend the Sand Village just in case? I don't know.
Yeah.
No, unironically, if
probably, 'cause
Baki
they-
went
they-
there,
no,
they
without-
would have captured
without
Sasuke.
Yeah, Baki's just helping Gaara fight Kimimaro, or Baki just goes on ahead to
Yeah,
fight
bro. Like
Sasuke.
Gaara would be like, Baki, don't worry about me. You go on ahead. Like he's saying the same thing Neji say. Like Baki, I've seen his eyes. Only you can save him.
Or alternatively, Baki's just duking it out with Kimimaro, and then Gaara, the sand tsunami. Gaara just puts Sasuke in a sand tsunami. I think he's bringing it back. I don't think Sasuke. I don't care. Curse mark 2, whatever. Sasuke just has no counter.
Like, if Sasuke is lucky enough to get to the final valley, then Gaara just turns Madara's head into sand and crushes his legs.
Yeah, he just like hospitalized. I'm like, yeah, he breaks every bone in Sasuke's body. Naruto wanted to.
Yeah, Naruto's like, Gaara, I wasn't serious.
He's like, oh, whoops. It's a bad habit of mine. Flashbacks delete.
Oh my god.
Well, that's the clip right there. What if Baki went on this Sasuke retrieval mission? Sasuke gets right back.
Anyways, okay, back to the actual question. I'm assuming they're still Genin, despite being Chunin to Jonin level.
Okay.
I
I
think
thought,
for all three of them.
in theory, they could have been promoted to Chunin, but probably not Jonin, because Chikara makes the point that Kankuro and Tamari were made Jonin at the
Exactly.
beginning of
I think that's
Shippuden.
to
Like,
parallel
said
Neji being
which
made
could have
Jonin
already been the case,
from
but it
Genin.
feels like that's them being promoted.
I agree,
But,
but Neji as well. That being said, I forget, in the Chunin exams filler arc from the Infant Tsukiyomi dream, Gaara is already Kage, and then we see why Neji's promoted Kage, because he saves Gaara. What were Tamari and Kankuro at that point?
They were already Jonin. They just weren't promoted. So the question is, did Gaara promote them as soon as he became Kazekage?
That's hilarious.
Or were they already Jonin alongside Gaara when Gaara became Kazekage? Because I've heard people say this, and this actually does make sense. In theory, Kankuro could have been the one who was supposed to be Kazekage.
I agree.
If not for Gaara wanting to be it.
I think probably,
if that's the case, it
unironically,
would
he
make
should have
sense if
just been it.
Kankuro just was. Yeah. In that case, then Kankuro just would have been a Jonin. I don't think they were gonna. I think Kankuro would have been promoted to Jonin before they were considering him Kage.
Like, if I'm Baki or the Sans feudal lord, I'm not giving it to Gaara. I'm sorry. Give it to Kagura. If anything, Tamari's a better fit. Like,
Tamari would be.
yeah.
But either way, I feel like, well, they were promoted to Jonin before that tuning exam. The question is just when were they promoted to Jonin? Was it right before? Was it Dusk Retrieval Arc and so on? It's not specified, but
Yeah.
but
I would
actually,
assume when Gar became Kage.
let's
I don't know.
let me actually see if it says in the data book too.
Oh, that's
It might
interesting.
just not specify what they are, but it might actually say what they are.
Fair enough. Chat, do you know?
It's fine.
Koji's like 30 to 40. Born an adult, I think. Was Koji born an adult like
Oh,
Delta?
this is
Goku
Gara
normally
Genin
does?
in the second data book. Let's try Konkuro.
He seems happy and then
Genin.
serious.
Okay, yeah, it's this
I would
girl
agree with that.
Genin,
They are getting okay. Yeah, then
Okay.
it must have been afterwards.
according to this.
Also, okay.
Yeah.
He also voiced Shizuma Hoshigake and the Kaguya filler villain from the land of that. Hilarious.
Oh, no way. It's the land of that guy.
Hilarious to have Momoshiki's voice.
Now I want to
acting
hear their
for
voices
them.
side by side.
Dude, I want to go back to listen to the freaking field trip arc in the dub. See if I can hear Momoshiki from Shizuma.
Wait,
Bro-
he's Shizuma's voice actor too?
Yeah, especially as he's like trying to manipulate
Okay, I think I
Kagura.
actually-
Bro, that's where it could come out the best. We gotta go back to
Okay.
listen to that.
I'm not overly surprised because I think I do know off the top of my head that it might sound really similar.
Yeah, I can imagine it as well. But still, that's hilarious. I love it.
Who else did you say he does?
That's it. Just the Kaguya guy, land of that villain,
And Shizuma?
and Momoshiki, obviously. And whoever we said
Okay.
above, if we said anyone.
That's you. I thought you said someone else, and that's why I can't remember. Unless you said Shizuma and I misheard you. But
No, that's it. That's all I said.
okay, well,
He
anyway,
might have other
we
roles.
gotta hear the
but
land
that's
of
all
that guy's
was
voice.
written here, anyways.
Oh, you know what? I figured out what it was.
Hmm.
You said Shizuma Hoshikage, and I only heard Hoshikage, thinking you were referring to the Hoshikage in that filler arc, when you meant Hoshigaki. And if you had said it like that, I would have heard Shizuma more correctly. That's what it was.
Hoshikage, is that the leader of the Star Village?
Yes.
They got Natsuhiboshi.
Which is
They're
what
fine.
I thought you were saying. I was like, no way, he did the Hoshikage. Anyway.
Bro,
right.
that's someone we should get. We should get the Natsuhiboshi singer on the podcast. See if she'll do a live cover.
Well, isn't it just...
See if we can sing along with her.
Like the, I still think I remember at least most of the song.
I know the Natsuhiboshi part.
I thought this...
That's
why I do go unless there's more to the song that I don't remember, but it's Natsuhiboshi, why are you so red?
Oh, I was thinking the Japanese version.
I had a sad dream last night.
Yeah.
My eyes are red from the tears I shed, mourning as I cry.
Yeah. It's so good, bro. Oh my god, I would go back to rewatch that filler arc. I need to go back and watch all of Naruto every day.
Oh, we'll do that eventually. Anyway. Alright, back to the chapter.
Yeah. Okay.
What were we talking about? Yeah,
So-
Riot's Spirit of the puppet. Yeah, he doesn't look like a puppet here. This is the most human puppet puppet's ever been.
No, it's just hilarious to imagine he's just not actually here. It's like in the background. In which case,
yeah.
it's like
Go back. Do you think we could see him in the background in any of the panels?
nah, bro, not a chance. There's not even a
That'd be
background
awesome.
to have him be shown in.
Get blamed. But that would have been the coolest thing they could have done with
I
a
agree.
Riot hair.
It'd be freaking
Like, I
hilarious.
hate to say it, the coolest thing they could do with this character is just put a black dot in the background showing him controlling the puppet.
Okay. Araya and Yodo's argument. First of all, you were saying this in the video, and I was saying this as well. I don't think I've seen anyone else talking about this. This arc is about romantic love. Does Yodo love Shinki?
I think so.
I got
Just
that
because,
impression as
like,
well. Likely, at least.
it's just like, well, I mean, I hate to say it. I was talking to Ash about this, but like, what's the trope with Boruto? Oh, the girl likes the guy. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is never the other way around. So
Unless
Yoda's
we're talking
gonna
about
like
Mitsuki to
Shinki, something like
Boruto.
which isn't even the case. But regardless, it's just like, yeah, it's about romantic love. It's just surrounded by romantic love. Yeah, in theory, they could have it be like a sibling thing to juxtapose with the romantic love, but like, I don't know. Like, even in last chapter, you got Yodo walking up to Sarada and be like, "What you gotta do, man?" Like, it seems like she's relating to the fact that she has a man.
Yeah. No, exactly. I was thinking the exact same thing. If anything, I think that's way more likely of a thing to point to, because of all people to have some sort of romantic connection here in this arc that isn't Sarada, considering there should be someone to like guide Sarada along or have an arc parallel to Sarada in this case. Who would it be? I think Yoda would be the perfect person, considering Sumire isn't here.
And then, yeah, and I know this is not
about it.
important to overemphasize, but like, I'm gonna send you this panel that again. This is completely reaching to use this as the reason for this argument in a vacuum. Okay, so this is only like one sprinkle out of 1,000 sprinkles on top of an ice cream cake combo. That's how little this is. Emphasize that.
Yeah.
Do not treat this as the cake. When this, oh my god, this is not the cake. This is not the ice cream. It is one single sprinkle. They do have this panel.
Okay. I'll give it to you. It's a sprinkle. As small of one as it is. Oh, God.
Yeah.
No, but it makes sense just combining everything we've said so far. Yodo is a girl who lost a guy. Sarada is a girl who likes a guy. It's like Yodo commented to Sarada about liking guys. Sarada's clearly still distracted based on her conversation with Sumire. Yodo's arguing with others about a guy. It's all set up.
Yeah, it just feels like, and then of course here's my other argument is that like, well, if it was a sibling thing, don't you think Araya would care like equally as much or something? Like why would Araya just be so okay with it compared to Yoda? It's not to say that Araya doesn't want Shinki back, but like in comparison, Yodo is the one who's going to be reckless over this, not Araya. If they're both sibling things, it's just okay. So I guess Araya doesn't care as much about his siblings as Yodo. That's just kind of weird.
I completely agree.
So,
yeah, I think he cares just as much, if not
different.
more, in terms of like a sibling bond, if anything. It's just he's the more shy, unspoken one in comparison to Yodo, who's the very much more brash, abrasive person. And knowing that, Araya is going to be even more reserved, since he knows Yodo's going to take the lead command like he is.
Yeah, but I still feel like if it was a sibling thing, I feel like they would react pretty evenly. The fact that she's so much more reactive makes me feel like they're going to add the romance, especially given everything else.
Well, it could just be, again, her personality. Like, just playing against the aspect of what I actually think. Because, again, it makes sense for the more abrasive person to react externally more than the person that's reserved, when they both care the same, if not the shy person caring even more.
Yeah, but, like, Yodo's not that abrasive. Coffee Bletch the tuning exam, she's kind of quiet too. Like, I don't.
Well, that was something I was gonna point out. What does she mean? We're always like this. No, you're not. I've seen you not be like this.
Well, to be fair, he has the ... after. Maybe he's like, yeah, that's not true.
Well, I was taking that as like a sigh of like, oh, this again. Like, yeah. But even then, even if you want to say, which is what she means anyways, that they argue a lot, this is definitely not like always. This is about Shinky being captured, something actually serious as opposed to whatever day-to-day unserious matters you're arguing over or whatever. And I don't know, it just seems like it's way different of a vibe. I don't think she's taking this type of thing as seriously as other things. And it won't affect the mission. You're arguing about the mission. It's already affected the mission.
Yeah, I think she's just saying that personally. Like, I think Araya's like, not only not normally like this, it will affect the mission.
Exactly.
Like,
well, no, I think that's the point. In fact, you could argue this is the whole reason that they don't come over top the hill with Konohamaru and the rest of Team 7. Maybe Konohamaru's taking countermeasures just to avoid Yodo going crazy on Ryu from right at the very beginning. I'm expecting next chapter, Yodo's gonna confront Ryu and be rude about it and potentially get herself almost killed. Like, I can imagine Ryu like aims like an iron sand spear at her forehead or something. Be like, you say that again or something. And then Sarada has to like break him up or something.
So I think Konohamaru's ends pretty easy. I'm sure you're gonna agree. Konohamaru's probably gonna struggle to kill Matsuri just because A, he's a good dude with a good heart, and B, too much Moegi. Like, I think that's a pretty fair expectation. He's gonna struggle with this cold hard mission.
So currently,
the Ryu end is where it gets tricky because
real quick on that, I think that's where they have been leading with Konohamaru's character in terms of what he's been having with Shikamaru. So I don't think Konohamaru's going to be the one to expose Shikamaru. I think Konohamaru's picking up on the fact that that Shikamaru's like this, not to point him out as being the traitor. I think that's going to be Kawaki or someone else, but rather to be like, Shikamaru's losing it. He's starting to slip. I need to do what I think is best and not listen to Shikamaru, who's going crazy.
Yeah, that's fine. But either way, the point is, I think Konohamaru is going to struggle to kill Matsuri, not just from a power scaling perspective, but like mentally, regardless of all that. The Ryu end is where it's tricky because in theory, I think there's multiple things that could go wrong. One is Ryu could just be on guard, and there's, okay, you couldn't catch him off guard. That's one problem. Two, I don't think Mitsuki will. Mitsuki is going to be the most non-problem of this. Like, I think Mitsuki is the most capable of doing this action of the whole crew. This is the only one I think is really good at this. Sarada could, in theory, struggle. I don't think she cares enough about Ryu. The question is, would Yodo mess up like Konohamaru on Ryu as well as another possibility? But I don't feel like Yodo should. I feel like Yodo would just be down to kill Ryu and get Shinky back. I don't know. Like,
yeah.
So I feel like that ends more so just going to be like Ryu's just ready. I think Konohamaru's then going to be more the he's faltering, whereas in their end it's more like they're just ill prepared for this, or / Ryu's too prepared kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm
imagining it just doesn't make sense for them to falter on Ryu.
It makes sense, especially if she loves Shinky, that Yodo's gonna be the most impatient, and then she's gonna strike early, which is gonna ruin everything.
Yeah, she's gonna jump the gun on him.
Yeah,
that would work.
She's the most easy to be on Ryu's bad side, even immediately. That being said, if I'm right that Araya cares just as much for other reasons, if not more, based on sibling bond relationship, if he's pushed far enough, he might be the subversion of expectations to have the outburst. The one that actually triggers the big cataclysmic event.
Yeah. I think either one. I mean, generally speaking, I think the best option would be that either or both of them basically mess up the mission out of impatience or whatever, which obviously isn't going to be a concern for Mitsuki and Sarada, who I hate to say it, just don't really care that much.
Yeah.
And then like Konohamaru's, then it's going to be different. It's going to be that he can't bring himself to do it. So you're going to get both ends of the spectrum. Actually, it's Yodo is too ready to do it. Konohamaru isn't ready enough.
Yeah, I do want to add, regardless of how it plays out in the end and how we get there, because it's inevitably going to go wrong at some point. regardless of all of that, even the middle ground, I think seeing Ryu enraged is the best thing they can do, at least visually. Because I'm thinking, you haven't seen the show, the anime, Dororo, whatever you want to say. It has the same kind of idea to where it's going to be about a misunderstanding. Brother. So it's like a brother has to kill their other brother because they're enraged for a similar reason. Yeah, this dude. He starts cool or whatever. Tahomaru. But then later on, he has to fight his brother, and he's like really angry at his brother because of like misunderstandings and the tragedy that like could have been prevented. I feel like that's what the same direction they're going for. That's what they've built up so far, anyways. And so I can imagine, especially once they realize they want to kill Matsuri, if that's a thing they want to do, like, how dare you? I'm gonna kill you all. I can imagine it's gonna be a similar face to what Shinki would have from part 1. Or even from earlier. Yeah, I can imagine similar to what Shinki had when Gaara was sealed. I don't think that chapter's still on here, but it could be on this one. Well, it might be on this, actually. Is it chapter 15?
The beginning of this chapter.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking of exactly something like this. Ryu with this facial expression. In reference to them trying to take out Matsuri or betraying them. And at that point,
he'd be the first Shinji to get angry.
Yeah. No, especially with them setting up Konohamaru as not wanting to take out Matsuri. That's where the tragic angle, the undertone, is going to be there. Where this could have been entirely prevented. It's just because of whatever bad thing goes wrong that we're going to be like, oh. But yeah. So far, just like Dororo, if they're setting up like this, I think this arc has been written pretty excellently in that regard. Minus a couple of the tiny nitpicks that we've mentioned. There's others still as well.
It's really just ignore chapter 14 and it's in 13, and it's pretty good.
Yeah. See, are there other Shinki expressions that would be good to look at? No, I think that one is like the one that would be really good. Yeah, just this one in particular. This on Ryu for like a whole chapter, not just one panel or one page, a whole chapter where he's like this. The whole chapter. Enraged, refusing to listen. Like, no, Ryu, it's not like that. Shut up! I never should have listened to you! I'll make you regret everything!
Yeah. Just note that there won't be a whole chapter of that. Like, Ikimoto likes to have everybody look serious and cool, like all his boards are. So, Ryu's not going to look enraged for more than like 3 panels.
Well, then Dororo did it better. And every other anime that's ever done this. Dororo is really good, by the way. Okay.
Well, since you're on Gaara, might as well ask it now. Expectations on if and when Gaara gets unsealed.
Okay. First of all.
How far into the arc, or will it even happen in this arc?
First of all, just talking on Gaara in general. Are you of the vibe that what Gaara did is entirely preventable, and that it's entirely his fault that he was sealed? Not sealed, but like injured fighting Matsuri, who didn't want to actually fight him?
Well, yeah. Like, I don't even know why he's trying to stop her. Because, like, it doesn't seem like Shikamaru told them about the Shinju yet. Because, like, Conqueror's just like, oh yeah, he's got the tree affliction. Like, he just knows that he's a tree. Which they probably told him after the code invasion. But he doesn't know about the Shinju yet. So, like, Gaara's just, like, doesn't know who this person is. But, like, I assume he's just like, okay, this is like a code-related thing, because it's alien, 10 tails, whatever. But, like, they're after Boruto. And as far as Gaara's concerned, that's a good thing.
Yeah. So, okay. I'm gonna give you the entire thought process here. The first impressions reading this chapter freaking 2 months ago, when you're first reading it, you're like, oh yeah, Gaara's just being an idiot here. She's saying none of you matter to me. And he's continuing on like, oh, I can't let you do this. Oh, I'm gonna stop you. He's like, bro, just leave. Like, I don't care about you. Leave. Please, go away. I don't want to fight you. But again, that's first impression. But really,
Well, I still have more.
Sorry, go ahead.
There's still just Gaara's mom's sand that disappeared. There's Shinki's jacket sand that disappeared. Like, they just didn't have to get bitten anyway.
I can understand if she moved
They never
on after
addressed-
she did her hand palm protecting Gaara thing against Rasa in the war arc. Maybe like an Edo Tensei soul moving on, except we just don't have a physical body to see that happen. Not
Okay,
saying
but
that did happen.
is that
I'm just saying it would be very understandable if it
Yeah.
never comes up again. So I don't have that as a complaint, but it's still a question you can
okay, but
ask.
either way, he could just use his sand a little bit better. I don't know, like, just why isn't he using it?
Yeah.
Now, again, if you want to say he's at the last tricks of his chakra, he's using it for the sand balls. All you need to have Matsuri do is just point out the fact that, like, it looks like you're so low on chakra, you can't even use sand to defend yourself. You just have her make the insult, like, and problem solve. It's bad address.
Or make it look
Same
like
with
he
Shinki and his
actually
jacket.
fought before this.
Show his jacket crumbling off.
Have his hair be
Yeah, just
disheveled.
they should have
Have
had a few
him
kills.
have scruff marks on his face. Don't just have blood.
Yeah,
Just looks like the fight
like
lasted
his
2
hair
seconds.
looks perfectly fine.
Which again, that's cool if you want to make Matsuri
yeah.
seem strong, but
Yeah, but I still feel like it's going back to Shinki. It's like we could have started this with Shinki's jacket crumbling off, like just so that he's so low on chakra he can't even maintain his jacket sand anymore. Because if otherwise, I'm like, why isn't he wearing it? Because again, that could have shielded him from the claw grind.
yeah. Anyways, that was the first impression reading the chapter, going back to the thought process here. And then, like, the serious perspective of it not making no sense of, like, how it actually should be. Is that, no, Matsuri is evil, sinister here. She's having fun tormenting Gaara, demented type of attitude. To where she's saying she'll let the kids go, but I'm not gonna let you go. So, that's the exchange here. I'll kill you in exchange for letting the kids go. And Gaara's like, yeah, fine, that's fine with me. But again, the argument here is like that she's like, bro, get out of here. I don't care about any of you. You're all insignificant ants to me. I'm just here for Boruto. And it's like, you're fighting me. It's like, I'm gonna keep fighting you. Roar! That being said, after this latest chapter, I'm back on board of Gaara is an idiot. And that just is what Matsuri was saying here.
Yeah, she's just so friendly.
I've got rid of the serious undertones entirely of the exchange of, oh, the kids, but I'm still gonna kill you no matter what. That's gone for me again.
Yeah, it seems like Gaara was just so annoying to her that she's just driven to kill.
Which, by the way, I was saving this for later, but I think Shikamaru's freaking capping, bro. I think he's full of it. If you don't want to say Shikamaru, then it's Ikimoto. Naruto would treat the Shinju the exact same way as freaking Gaara, as if he's gonna be, oh yeah, I got heart. So the divine trees, those 10 tails monsters that want to destroy the earth, yeah, I'll actually be friends with them. No, he's not, bro. Get out of here, Shikamaru. As if.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is that obviously Naruto wasn't like that with the 10 tails, but the
He was
10
like it
tails
with
was
Kaguya,
mindless, so hypothetically
but
if
it's
it
not
was
the same thing.
sentient, like, yeah, like, but even then,
The problem with Kaguya, first of all, he had no idea about anything at all about Kaguya. It's just someone who defeated Madara in his eyes. But it's like, oh, I guess we don't have to fight. Because, again, he didn't know anything about Kaguya. He's not going to be thinking that about these divine trees, who are Ten Tails, who are Otsutsuki, who he knows wants to destroy. He's going to go into the confrontation thinking that they have to fight, regardless of the fact that he himself would personally want to. And then adding on to the fact that he knows about the targets at this point, if he's Shikamaru in this instance, regardless, he's going to want to take them out. It's not going to be like, oh yeah, let's just talk no jutsu them, guys. Oh, they're not evil. They haven't technically done anything yet. Naruto's not going to be mellow in this instance. Like, he's going to be Naruto. He's going to try and kill him. They're tin tails.
The only situation where he would do what Shikamaru's saying is if Shikamaru told him, like, hey, you know, I'm pretty sure these are, like, innocent little wild cubs, whatever you called them, and blah, blah, blah. Like, if Shikamaru explained that to him first, then Naruto would absolutely be like...
No, he wouldn't! He'd be like,
Well,
hey, Shikamaru, you idiot, they killed 12 of our people! They're trying to eat my daughter! They're evil, Shikamaru, you idiot! Oh, they haven't technically done it. Naruto doesn't know what pre-crime is.
I think if Shikamaru explained that, he would be like more like Konohamaru, like want to actually befriend him, because that would just go against the whole show of Naruto, where he's looking at his enemies and befriending them, talking to Jutsu, blah blah blah. He does things. Now I understand there's context behind those situations, but
Orochimaru.
They were not innocent people.
Neither are the Shinju.
Who don't know any better. Well, they kind of are. They're just acting on instinct. They don't know any better.
Okay, first of all, no, they aren't acting on instinct. The Tin Tails was acting on instinct. They are purposefully, consciously doing the things they do. They have personality. And if I'm not going to give them the excuse of, oh, they were born yesterday, literally. They have adult consciousness.
Well, Hidari doesn't, but besides that...
Hidari doesn't count.
I mean, Naruto might respect how polite Jiraiya is.
Oh, he didn't respect Jigen.
Yeah, but Jiraiya's even more polite.
Again, it's not just politeness. Regardless of politeness, Jigen apologized to Naruto. Naruto still wanted the smoke. He's not like, I sorry, I didn't realize you were like that. I guess we don't have to fight after all. Nah, bro.
Yeah, but like, I mean, I think you saw Jigen as like an evil person going into it. I think it's like, it depends on his perspective, because if Shikamaru explains the innocent cub thing, I think that changes the game for him. But if he doesn't, then Naruto is just going to look at him.
Okay, like why going into it did he see Jigen as an evil person? Because I think that just debunks that right there.
Because of what Kawaki told him.
Okay, regardless of Kawaki, I'm thinking of what he says to Delta. Delta pisses him off. He's like, I don't care who's in Kara. I'm killing all of you. He doesn't care if they're evil or not. He's going to kill them because they're Kara. Same with these Tin Tails monsters who are Tin Tails.
No. But it's because of how Delta was acting about Kawaki.
Yeah, I know. That's how Delta, specifically, was acting about Kawaki. He's not going to question who Jigen is. He's just going to kill him because he's Jigen. Because he's Kara. Based on that.
Yeah, but like, the Shinju aren't acting... Well, it depends on which Shinju she meets, though. Because if he meets Mamushi first, then yeah.
Naruto wasn't going to wait around either. Naruto essentially put Jigen on his kill list just as Code put everyone else on his kill list. He was going to go find Jigen. Doesn't matter if Jigen's a good guy or not. He's not going to stop to question it. He's not going to find out first.
Well, he knows he's not anyway. He already knows he's not anyway. He's heard Kawaki's story before meeting Delta.
That's regardless.
He's seen Kawaki's PTSD. He's heard Kawaki's story. And then he sees how Delta acts. Of course he's not going to trust Jigen.
Bro, Naruto's not going to care if they're little innocent baby cubs just born. He's gonna freaking kill him, bro. For sure. For sure. Especially after targeting his daughter. Just like Delta. Just like Delta. You dare lay a hand on Himawari, Jura?
I don't see Naruto killing the current Delta.
The current Delta isn't Delta. Okay, that's Bronco. That's not Delta.
It's not Bronco. Bronco's just the wake-up command.
Nah, bro, that's Bronco. That's Bronco. That's not Delta.
It's not.
That's Bronco.
They called her Delta several times. It's Delta.
It's Bronco.
It's
But
not.
anyways.
Anyway, moving on.
There was more I had to say on this. Give me a second to remember what it was.
Well, to be fair, he also said probably.
Yeah,
So he's not saying
exactly.
it's impossible he would take this route.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Naruto, let's not pretend like Naruto isn't involved in the darkness. He doesn't personally get his hands dirty, but he's telling Sasuke to do it for him. Like, he
I don't
knows
know, actually, if
Shikamaru's
you
his
read that-
advisor for this exact
you-
reason. Naruto would want
Did I
Shikamaru to do
save
this.
this? I
Besides,
don't think I saved this. Did I?
Shikamaru's
Chucky, let's
just...
check Naruto topic.
If I'm being honest, the only reason this is included in Boruto isn't because of Naruto's personality. It's specifically because of how Naruto, his plan for Kawaki. But just as I was telling Mello, Naruto isn't doing what he does to Kawaki because he relates to him. It's because that is his plan to take down Kara in the most efficient, best way possible. Just his genuine, serious, unbiased plan. And the other Kage agreed with him. Not because Naruto was an orphan who is so sad, just like Kawaki, but because Kawaki's the vessel. It's not about who Kawaki was. Kawaki could have been Shoujoji. He's going to treat Shoujoji the exact same way. Maybe not the exact same way in terms of inviting him into his family personally, but that's like aside from his mission of protecting the vessel from Kara. And Shikamaru just couldn't see that.
Okay, I finally found what I was looking for. Oh, hold on, this is gonna be funny. Okay, so you said, I'm gonna put this in number 2 topics for you. You said that Naruto doesn't get his hands dirty.
If anything,
this was crazy.
this will just make my case better, but go ahead.
It is. That's why I'm sending it to you.
Yeah.
So apparently in one of these novels, at first I thought he did it to the clones, but no, So I don't know the full context. I haven't read this novel, but I think this is the one where they have like the Madara worshippers and whatnot. So there's a guy named Gario who seems like to be the main
I know
villain
all
here
about
anyway.
Gario. But yeah.
Okay. So
well, for the podcast, you should just say it
apparently-
anyways. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have interrupted.
Naruto, he plunges the kunai into the neck of one of the guys with Gario. So not Gario himself, but like
Yeah.
there's 3 ninja that were protecting him. And Naruto plunged the kunai into one of their necks.
Yeah.
Just casually, just like, Haku wore a mask like that too, as he kills them. And now this ice technique. You were a rogue ninja from the Mist Village? And then like Gario's like, so that wasn't the real you. As he sees like a clone of Naruto that like poofs away, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. At first I thought maybe Naruto killed a clone, but no, it just seems like Naruto, based off this page, it's the only page I've seen, it seems like Naruto just killed all 3 of those guys.
Yeah.
No mercy.
This is
Like a
almost as
Kakashi
intense
level
as
kill.
Mitsuki slitting Shizuma's water clone neck from the filter bark. That was
Yeah,
freaking
it's just like,
awesome.
okay, like I understand Naruto can be willing to kill, but this is not Naruto's style. Doesn't do this.
To be fair,
Like, I can understand him Rasenganing him to death or whatever, but he's not gonna slit their throat.
to be fair, you can argue in canon Naruto's never killed anybody. Naruto's killed countless people. Okay, he's killed just about every single movie and filler character imaginable. At least the main villains, obviously. He's killed
Filler? What filler
dozens
character are you
of
thinking of?
people. Well, just in general, just like all of them practically.
What? No, he doesn't. Not that I can think of. I've rewatched a bunch of the filler for that Halloween video, mind you.
Okay. He's definitely killed a lot of them. I'm not saying every single one.
Name one that he kills.
I'm not playing this game.
Can you name one?
I could, but I said I'm not gonna play this game.
Why not?
Yeah, okay, I'm moving on. Even in canon, he's still more than willing to kill people. And as if other people, like freaking Kid Hinata, isn't killing people in fillers as well. The same thing. They're all killing people. Countless
You know,
people.
built different.
Shy, little, timid 12-year-old Hinata who's like, Naruto-kun. She's killing people. She is a murderer. That little girl murdered people intentionally as a ninja. Because she's a ninja. But again, even in canon, Naruto's more than willing to kill people.
Anyone.
Regardless
The only
if
people she might kill are like the bees people.
Regardless if Naruto actually did kill a human or not, he at least killed thousands of Zetsus and Edo Tensei. Obviously, he technically took out that
Yeah, I'm not going to count
Itachi-
Edo Tensei's killing.
the Itachi 30% clone of the guy whose name starts with a J. Jiren?
Oh.
Who is it?
No, Yura. He killed Yura, yeah.
Yura. Well, no, Itachi killed Yura by putting him under
Yura's
that
already
technique.
dead.
But he would have
Yura's
killed...
already dead, by the way.
Exactly, but he would have killed Yura. Beyond that, he wanted to kill Orochimaru and Kabuto. In fact, he would have killed Kabuto,
But he didn't. Not because he didn't. Not because he stopped himself. Just because he couldn't.
He was gonna kill Haku in the very first arc. Freaking 12-year-old Naruto there, as innocent as could be. He told Gaara if Gaara continues, he will kill him. He told Mizuki he will kill him.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously, jokes aside,
well,
it's
a little bit more. He technically told Sasuke that he and Naruto would die, implying he would kill Sasuke. And then in Boruto, he was more than willing to kill Shin. But then when the kid Shin clone attacks him, and then Kurama's having to stop him, you can disagree. I got the idea that Naruto was willing to slaughter every single one of those children.
Kurama didn't stop him. It was the other way around. Naruto stopped Kurama.
Whatever. Naruto would have done it.
I don't think so when it comes to the kid clones, but anyway.
If he had to, he absolutely would have. If the kid clones didn't reform, he wouldn't have hesitated.
Anyway,
I don't think so.
It's more about the way he kills them in this novel, not the fact that he would kill them. It's just he just wouldn't do this very Kakashi Zabuza like killing method. It's just not how he does. It's not what he does.
I think he would have been more than willing to do an Obito on those kids, those Shin clones.
No, I think he's more likely, as crazy as this sounds, I think Naruto's more likely to throw a Rasen Shuriken to kill someone than he is to just slit their throat.
I mean, that's fair, but I think like collapsing a cave would be a way to do it.
A lot more cruel.
Well, again, that's how Naruto kills a lot of his villains, is through the environment anyways, whether it's collapsing things on top of them or pushing them off a cliff or whatever.
He pushes someone off a cliff in a movie. That's funny.
Well, it's more like Rasengans them off of the cliff and stuff, but you get the idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, moving on past this. Probably just gonna drink a shake and end.
Okay. But yeah, I think it's total cap. Naruto knows who and what Ten Tails is. He wanted Sasuke to kill the Ten Tails. He's not gonna stop just because they have consciousness now. Oh, they're not evil. Yeah, okay, bro. Yeah, Naruto's gonna think that. Naruto's gonna go into confronting the Shinji with that idea. I don't think so.
It's possible.
He's gonna view them as a threat to the Shinobi world. And himself and his daughter. Okay, at the very least, Naruto himself is a target of Jura. He's gonna say, "Oh, I guess I have no choice."
Well, is he a target of Jura anymore? Bro has not mentioned that guy's name since he met Himawari. Seems like the books are more of Jura's target than Naruto is.
Bruh. Okay.
And Koji's not mentioning Naruto either. He's just like, oh, he's gonna go after Himawari, blah blah blah. So like,
then I
How
never
much does Jiro
ever
care about
want to
Naruto?
hear you say that Mamushi isn't going after Ada that Mamushi isn't going after Ada ever again. Not allowed to mention it.
Well, at least they're referencing the fact that he's watching her.
Well, my point is that if Naruto was in the village, then he wouldn't have changed to Himawari in the first place. But
Obviously, but that's not the current situation. The fact is he's not looking for Naruto, seemingly. Like, he's more after Himawari right now than Naruto still.
Even if you want to
Regardless
say
if you
that,
like
if
it.
Naruto came back right now in front of Juro would at least want to eat him, just to see what happens.
Maybe, but he also might just want to freaking read a book about him. I don't.
I doubt it, bro. He doesn't want to read a book
I'll
about
be honest, when you watch
Himawari.
from Naruto. Well, there's probably no books about Himawari, but I bet there's a book about Naruto. At the very least, there's Jiraiya's book about Naruto.
I mean, they could make a ninja card or something probably real quick. At least update hers. She's probably going from like D rank up to triple S rank considering the Kurama reveal. Fucking spot, Jiro. But yeah, no, I mean, I get that Shikamaru's being Donzo Tobirama-y here, and that they're implying, oh, Naruto's too lighthearted for that. I just don't think this is what Naruto would do. Again, it's to get rid of these superhuman monsters for the survival of humankind.
Well, to be fair, actually, there is another way you could look at this that you haven't yet, which is not to say that Naruto wouldn't kill the Shinju. It's that Naruto might not be down to do this whole fake befriend the Shinju so you can backstab them later plan. That could be what Shikamaru's referring to.
I agree.
When he says
agree.
Naruto probably
Naruto wouldn't do that. Naruto would have skipped the friend process, and he would have gone with what I thought Konohamaru was doing the entire time, stealthily taking them out. You could say that Naruto himself wouldn't have done it, but he would have commanded Konohamaru to kill them without them even noticing.
Yeah, but I think in that case, you could argue from Naruto's perspective, the whole fake befriend thing is more cruel and shit, which Naruto's just not down for.
Yeah.
Where Shikamaru is. That could be what he means, in which case
I agree.
I guess have our discussion. It just goes out the window. It doesn't even matter because that's not even what he's referring to.
But exactly. Well, just as a caveat there to go along with the fact that's not what he's talking about. But I think Naruto wouldn't do that because that tactic in and of itself, regardless of context, is cruel. I don't think he would have commanded Konohamaru to do that to Ishiki. It's not about them being good or bad people or innocent, naive, or not.
I think it amplifies it though. I think it's amplified by the fact that they are just newborns, regardless if they're innocent. They are kind of just newborns who don't know any better. And exploiting that might just feel wrong to Naruto. It just wouldn't be an option for Ishiki, but it is in this case.
I don't think Naruto would see it like that, but either way, even if it's amplified, either way, he's not going to do it because he doesn't like the tactic.
Yeah. Which is, in my opinion, what Shikamaru is actually referring to anyway. The tactic. Not the killing of the Shinju.
I agree.
But the befriend them and kill them later.
One more thing I'll say on this note.
You probably should have just
really, two things.
But
two more things I'll say on this is, first of all, Shikamaru's the last person I want to hear this from. I never ever want to hear Shikamaru say a single word again after how he's treated Ada. Bro didn't have a single clue in this regard when it comes to... He still has that assassination plot going on with Sarada and Sumire with Ada. Oh, but when it comes to these Shinju, they're the most innocent angels in the world. Forget I was saying the whole time that Ada was innocent and not bad or evil or against the leaf at all. And everyone else was against me, including Shikamaru. But now Shikamaru, of all people, after Ada, is like, oh yeah, these angelic Shinju. Oh, it's such a shame we have to kill these charitable Shinju. Oh. Yeah, okay, bro.
To be fair, with Ada, at least, he's not saying you are going to kill them. It's if she becomes an enemy, you guys will have to do it. So it does have that caveat. So basically, the Shinju are already at the enemy stage. The Ada.
I mean, you can say that, but at that point, the Shinju aren't at the enemy stage yet. Shikamaru, if anything, wants to kill them for the same reason you're saying he wants to kill Ada. It's because they can be a threat to mankind, not that they currently are. It's because of their power level.
Well,
which is a testament.
They currently are, though.
It's a testament on humanity itself. It's why Onoki would want to kill Naruto in the current age if he could.
Yeah, but it's not just potential because of their power. They just are being a threat, and they just watch them do it.
Well, I'm okay. Hypothetically, let's just say
it's not ambiguous.
Let's just say Jura is the strongest of the Shinju, and Jura, after eating his target and evolving to his absolute max peak potential, and Shikamaru would know this, is that Jura is at most like White Zetsu fodder level. Sure, you can argue Shikamaru would care because he's evil, but he's not really going to care because it's about the fact of the individual having more power than the world can deal with in general. Not about whether they're good or evil. Let's just say he knew that Juro was a good guy, just like how he knows Naruto's a good guy. He still is just gonna like not be down for that because Juro has that much power.
I don't agree with that because he's letting Damon be in the village. He's scared of Damon, but like we can't do anything about it, so let's try to be their friends. That's his philosophy.
He can't do anything about Damon. That's the exact difference. If he couldn't do anything about Ada, he would do the exact same thing as well. But he can do something about Ada, which is why he has that plot. Which is why I think it's not it's if the opportunity presents it, you need to kill Ada. Not if she becomes a bad guy.
Well, that's not what he says, at the very least.
I mean, that's the impression I got. You could disagree, but...
Not what he says, though. You can argue that's the meaning, but that's not literally what he says.
Okay, well, that's not literally
yours
what he
technically,
says.
if you're... I don't know what the fallacy plot theorem logic thing is, but like it requires more assumptions on your part, because one is just directly taking what he says. The other one is saying, well, no, he actually means this. So by the assumption thing that you quote sometimes, you would, in a debate, go with the other interpretation.
Well, not necessarily. It just makes it more preferable, not even more probable. That's how that fallacy works.
Okay, but by that standard, that's usually what you would go with.
Well, that would be incorrectly using it to your advantage. But sure.
What's the correct way to use it?
Well, again, it's not about probability. It doesn't change probability. It just makes one more preferable than the other.
Okay, but you usually use that one. End up going with that one when you're in this crossroad in a debate, right?
Again, in a debate, you do absolutely anything you can to win. Doesn't matter how much of a liar you're being.
No, but like... Yeah, but like, okay, hypothetically, you just say that in a debate. What is the judge going to go with? He's probably going to be like, well, no, we go with...
Well, it depends what the other person contests with. If the judge knows that's the case, and the debater just doesn't contest it, then they'll just give the point to the person that made that argument in the first place. Just like me versus Mr. Spiraling. Okay. You knew my 9.8 meters per second argument was complete cap. I still won the point regardless, despite you knowing that. Exactly.
Yeah, I guess.
Well,
anyway,
I'm trying to find the part where Shikamaru says the reason that he wants to take him out. Is it in the first conversation or the second one? You know.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not looking right now.
Okay. Anyway, Shikamaru says divine trees are our enemy. Take charge of the situation as amicably as possible. Find a way to separate them. Okay, so it's probably gonna be the first conversation. Okay. Yeah, so it's gonna be around here. Probably a little bit below this one. Scroll just in case. Okay. Yeah, okay, so first of all, before that, going back to this of, like, Konohamaru, I don't think he's gonna see or, like, call out Shikamaru as a traitor, but rather that Shikamaru is, like, losing his mind, going crazy. Because Shikamaru is, like, telling him this plan, and he's like, oh, how'd you get this intel? Yeah, that seems like, oh, the traitor thing. But Shikamaru, the point isn't that. It's the fact that Shikamaru refuses to tell him, sorry, Konohamaru, that's beyond your clearance. But then it's not just that. The real thing here, you have a problem with that? Konohamaru, ... sweating, no, ... That's the most obvious not no of all time. Yeah, he has a problem with that. That's why it's gonna be a problem during this mission when he doesn't do that.
Yeah, Shikamaru was just like really like he's just I feel like he was making it so obvious when he said that.
So I think choosing Konohamaru for this mission is gonna backfire against him for that very exact reason. But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So tell me you can't imagine the current Kage in the current day and age saying this about Naruto and Sasuke. But because they have dangerous strength, they pose a great threat to us humans.
No, they're not saying that. They haven't said it. They don't think that they pose a great threat to the humans. They might not like them, but like...
Bro, you agree with me. Naruto and Sasuke's power are the only reason the world isn't trying to destroy Konoha.
It's not. They think Naruto and Sasuke pose a threat. That's not why they want to destroy Konoha in the first place. It's because of the freaking feudal lord nonsense, and/or they just don't like Naruto / Sasuke. I mean, they might think Sasuke is a threat to humanity given his past, but I don't think
they don't want to destroy Konoha because they dislike Naruto's personality.
I agree. They're perfectly fine with Naruto's personality.
Okay. This is a commentary on humanity. The fact that Shikamaru is saying this here. Which would go in line with the Ada interpretation.
What are you talking about?
But because they have dangerous strength, they pose a great threat to us humans.
Yeah, but like Naruto is a human. Like he's making an interspecies thing.
See, I disagree.
He's
you could say because he's
like
using the word humans, but then, okay, then the Kage could just use the word mankind, or us, and just leave off the word human, or the world, or the great nations. That about Naruto, this is how they described Ada originally anyways. That Ada has the power to take over the world, if she wanted to.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, she has the power to take over the world. Correct. That's the end of it.
If that was the end of it,
Naruto would have the power to take over the world, but they're not worried that Naruto will do so. They might be worried about Sasuke, like I said, because of his track record, but they're not worried about Naruto, who has only stopped others from doing that and has actively brought the world together and prevented wars where people take on the world. They're not worried that Naruto is going to do that. That's not a concern for them.
Not the current Naruto, but they're worried that Naruto could change.
No, they're not. There's nothing that indicates that. That's just headcanon. Complete headcanon. Nothing in the story implies that. Not even in the novels. The novels only discuss the feudal lord nonsense.
See, you just don't look at nuance. I don't know what to tell you.
There's no nuance of that. You it's just not there.
It's
Move
right
on.
here on my screen. You agree with me that Naruto and Sasuke are the only reason the 5th Great Ninja War hasn't started 5 times over in the blank period. In fact,
But it's
the one
not the same
time where
thing.
Naruto and Sasuke were out of the picture even momentarily, they nearly invaded Konoha as it was. As if the Raikage
Yeah,
making
and
the
these are not
chakra
the
weapons was just for no reason.
But again, that's not because they're worried that Naruto will take over the world. That's not why they're invading Konoha when Naruto's gone.
In the novels, Onoki nearly kills Kakashi on purpose because of this exact idea.
You send me a scan of them saying that they're worried Naruto's going to take over the world, and then we'll continue this at a different time. Otherwise, let's move on.
That was never my argument in the first place.
You've said it like 5 times on this stream, so let's move on.
No, that's just what you heard. So I'm sorry that you heard that. I'm sorry it came across that way.
It's also it's what the stream heard. It's what you literally spoke into existence with your vocal cords.
Again, I'm
On the
sorry.
stream
I'm
that is
sorry that's
recorded
the way it came
live.
across to you. I'm sorry how you interpreted it.
Bro, let's
What?
not do this whole I completely disagree thing again, where you said one thing and thought you said another, okay?
Bro.
If you remember
Whatever.
that.
Yeah, I agree. Let's not do it.
Okay, let's move on. I taking my sweet time with this shake because I'm not that hungry, but like that is the last thing I'm doing. So
Yeah.
like just keep that in mind.
Well, I'm
Let's
glad
get through
you
as much as we
agree
can.
that you disagree with what I said.
don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. At the very least, this going back to Ada, this interpretation does still apply to Ada, regardless of the Shinju, because Ada's not a different threat, or a different species. If you want to say it's because of the species that they're saying that, not because of the dangerous
Well,
strength.
It's also just the intent. It's really the different species boils down to the intent. Shikamaru doesn't, even though like he's weary of Ada's intent, because at the end of the day, Ada, regardless, just she wants Kawaki, blah blah blah. In the quest for Kawaki, Ada has been willing to ally herself with Code, as an example. From Shikamaru's perspective, Ada can do whatever the hell she wants that is anti everyone else if it's for her goal of Kawaki. So he has every reason to be wary of her intentions and what her alliances and whatnot, which would be different from Naruto, who there's no reason to worry about it. Like he's only been good.
Well, no,
That's the
there's
difference.
reason to worry about it. He's saying the reason right here. Again, I will read both pages here. Shikamaru says, I don't think...
Okay, look.
Shikamaru says, I don't think they have true evil intent. What does Shikamaru think? That they don't have true evil intent. At least for the time being.
Well, there's a difference between... No, but you have to understand... Okay.
They're merely
Evil
animals that react on
versus...
instinct.
No. Yeah, well, even if they have consciousness and whatnot, at the end of the day, I don't think Shikamaru is looking at a lion and saying it's evil because it eats a gazelle. That's just the food chain.
Obviously.
That's what it eats.
That's what he's getting at.
He's not calling that evil.
Yeah.
He's just saying... So again, in this case, if bears just were strong enough to kill all humans and they actually like to eat humans more than like fish and whatever else they eat, he would be saying the same thing. It's not because of evilness, it's just that bears eat humans. Well, we obviously don't want that because we don't want to die. Therefore, we need to eliminate bears. That's his philosophy here. It's not that they're evil, it's just that, well, they happen to be trying to eat us, so here we are.
Okay, no. Again, I wish you didn't add that caveat in the middle of these two panels, because now I'm going to have to reset the two panels for this to flow correctly, so I'm just going to reread everything here. I don't think they have true evil intent, at least for the time being. They are merely animals that react on instinct, the second panel, but because they have dangerous strength, they pose a great threat to us humans. It's not and because they have great strength, it's but. He's saying, so why do they pose a great strength, a great threat to us humans?
The only reason that matters is because of their instinct to devour in the first place.
No, it isn't. He's saying but.
All right, then we disagree and we're moving on.
I mean, that's fine, but it's clearly go with my interpretation, since it's the exact opposite of saying what he's saying in the
I
left panel.
don't care.
Well, that's immature of you to say.
That's fine.
Okay.
Technically, I'm later than I want to be, so you can imagine why I'm trying to just move along.
I don't know why you're saying move along, like you didn't just say you're taking your sweet time with the smoothie because you're not hungry. What does that mean?
Well, actually, now I'm almost done with it. But, I have been taking my sweet time because I'm not hungry, but I am almost done at this point.
Okay, well. Let's see what chat has to say. Nothing? Or is it just... Yeah, I'm just gonna close this out because that's not working real. Man, my computer's being really laggy. Well, sorry chat, I guess I just won't be able to read you.
Let me check it.
Oh, I can read it here. Okay, cool. My face cam's on this whole time, that's hilarious. But Oodie, Naruto didn't want to kill Obito. Chat been dead. Chat us. Oh, also this has been on the whole time too. Oh crap. Well, that's.
Oh wait, I just saw something funny.
That's
okay, hold on.
Gone forever.
This is inspired by editing and marketing resumes comment about it's what he says. In the anime episode when Madara absorbed the tree, the voice actor sounded like Shenron. It was probably just Kaguya, but still strange. Are Tento's connected to dragons? Don't know who Shenron is, but just taking the divine tree talking thing into account. Okay. Is that the voices Matsuri is hearing? Like, is it the same thing? It's like Boruto is over there.
Kamui not knowing Dragon Ball. Space.
Oh, well, there you go. I guess it was Dragon Ball.
By the way, Space, in reference to you don't think that Naruto would be willing to kill children even if they are enemies, Haku was a child. So. Ash says, you don't know who Shenron is?
I don't. Never heard of him till today.
Wow. Sounds like someone should watch Dragon Ball.
Yeah, we got a lot of things in the way before then.
Oh my god.
Okay. I agree. I am barely an anime fan. You're right. I have a whopping 6 that I have seen. And the number's not going to go up anytime soon because I'm currently going to rewatch everything before I move on.
Bro, so bad. Can't believe it.
You know, like I said, Swaikage, million subscriber YouTuber, his top 5 consists of 4 of the 6 I've seen. So it seems like I've picked the good ones.
Oh my god. A lot of them aren't even long. You just, I don't know why you don't choose like an 11 episode anime just to binge in a freaking day. It's that easy.
Because you know my rate. I still finished the Death Note thing. I also plan on reading the Attack on Titan manga to see all the differences there too.
Oh my god.
And then I gotta do the same with Hunter x Hunter. You can imagine, like I've got a long ways to go. Like Platinum End is the only other one that's on the table right now. But you've already started.
I feel like, in ways,
put on pause for
in different ways, you are the most and least appreciative fan of all of art ever. Um,
Well, do you mind elaborating on both ends?
no.
Oh, you don't mind? Okay,
See, I
perfect.
knew
Go
you were
ahead.
gonna say. I knew you were gonna say that, even though my answer was obvious.
Yeah, obviously enthusiastically ready to elaborate.
Okay, I'll give you this. Since I had thought about this earlier anyways, and I think I wrote this in podcast topics, whenever we do the Christmas stream, I think it would be hilarious. Of all streams to do it on, I wrote down for that stream that we should say our own and each other's greatest strengths and weaknesses. I added strengths just because I didn't want to look bad. The only reason I want to do that is for the weaknesses, and not for ourselves, but for saying everyone else's weakness. I want to say what your and Cam's weaknesses are right before giving you your presents.
I already have Cam's.
That's hilarious. Oh no, I already thought about what both of yours
Cam's
would be. But...
Cam's is easy. Oh, well, mine's easy. Like, it's you could easily come up with a bunch. Like,
yeah.
a lot of it would be indecisive. That's an easy one.
That's a big one, yeah.
I also have a funny one for you already.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it because I think it's a funny concept in general, but I would want to take it seriously, but not like actually seriously to where like we're getting butthurt or anything. So like maybe we do like one serious one and one goofy one, because it'd be hard to choose just one anyways. I don't know. Top 3? It's a fun idea.
See, I have an easier. I have an easier time coming up with joke weaknesses. Like, I just instantly came up with 3 jokes for Kevin.
Oh no, Trippy was
I'll
the
give
one
you
I
a
wanted to
hint.
start
Actually,
with. Trippy's greatest weakness is he's not here. He's too quiet.
What's his strength? He doesn't get into arguments.
He was here.
That's his greatest strength. He used to be here. His greatest weakness, he's not anymore.
Oh my god. Okay.
Well, actually, no, his greatest strength, he's active when it comes to blocking.
He knows
He's
exactly who he wants to be friends with. Oh my god.
Trippy would be the funniest one to spend a lot of time on. It'd be funny to do it for like every YouTuber we know. But some of them would get butthurt. You already know that.
Well, by some, I know the one you have in mind. It's kind of just trying to cover your trail there, but I got you.
Starts with the letter M. Rhymes with yellow.
I'm gonna cry.
Oh yeah, speaking of the letter M, you'll think this is I kind of just went ahead and gave Cam the gist because she already caught on when we tried to do it to her that one time, and I just wanted her to watch it. We were talking about a certain troll on someone else, and it led into me asking her, I was like, have you ever watched that Meek stream yet, by the way? And I kind of gave her the rundown. I was like, okay, if you like those trolls, I think you might like this one. Where we potted with Meek for like 3 hours, and we just talked about the dumbest fate topic ever. And I'm hoping she'll watch it, because I was like, I want you to watch it, actually, because I kind of want us to rewatch it at this point, because like, just to see like, because it was pretty good. Yeah. The fact that we actually did, like, that was one of the craziest ones we've ever done to a prominent YouTuber.
Oh, it's so good.
Convinced.
Oh,
smiling in different language. I still remember the night when we were up until like God knows how long, when I just randomly came up with the idea and we were like playing it.
Oh, bro, that's freaking... That was
That was the
progression
most
right
fun
there.
part. That's the crazy part.
Plotting it
Like,
out.
yeah, like as fun as that stream was, planning it was even funner. Oh, that was so good. That was peak. All right.
That's probably
Should
a
we just
sweet
end there?
note to end it. Yeah, okay, I'm glad you agree. That was like the perfect ending part. So, okay. Thanks everyone, we failed!